I collect attributes in the apocalypse. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 601 Lin Fan wins. In front of the strength of Lin Fan, a level 5 evolver, Li Qiushu is simply unable to resist. After being pulled by Lin Fan, his body uncontrollably rushed towards Lin Fan. At the same time, Lin Fan's eyes flashed, and a wicked smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. He raised his foot and kicked Li Qiushu's calf hard. Bang! There was only a dull bang, and Li Qiushu screamed, and the whole person knelt on one knee in front of Lin Fan. There was no way. Lin Fan's strength was not something he could resist. Moreover, this was the result of Lin Fan deliberately controlling his strength. If Lin Fan did not control his strength and kicked Li Qiushu's calf with all his strength, he would definitely be able to break Li Qiushu's calf. After Li Qiushu knelt in front of Lin Fan grabbed Li Qiushu's wrist and squeezed it hard. Li Qiushu continued to scream, sweat kept coming out of his body, and his whole face was soon covered with sweat. Since it was a competition that was to be stopped at a certain point, and there was a big shot like Dong Xian's Huo watching, Lin Fan naturally couldn't use too much force to really cripple Li Qiushu. After all, Li Qiushu's talent and growth potential were still very good. Among all the students, apart from him, Li Qiushu was indeed the strongest. Dong Xian's Huo didn't want to see such a student like Li Qiushu crippled. "Brother Lin Fan is so handsome," Murin Shan said with a smile when she saw the scene on the high platform. Such a scene can indeed be said to be extremely handsome. Not only Murin Shan thought it was handsome, but Murin Zhu and other students also felt a kind of blood boiling. The strength of a level 5 evolver is indeed crushing all level 4 evolvers. Lu Mingyun couldn't help but sighed. Only someone like Lin Fan who has a demonic ability may have the opportunity to deal with a level 5 evolver at the level of a level 4 evolver. Unfortunately, Li Qiushu doesn't have any demonic abilities. Lu Mingyun was also telling the truth. When Lin Fan was at the peak of the 4th level of evolution, he had the ability to control objects through the air. He could indeed deal with people at the early stage of the 5th level of evolution with the increase of his ability. But Li Qiushu was not Lin Fan. Li Qiushu had neither the ability to control objects through the air nor any other evil abilities. On the high platform, Lin Fan looked at Li Qiushu, and then without wasting too much time, he raised his foot again and kicked Li Qiushu in the abdomen, while releasing the hand that was holding Li Qiushu's wrist. Bang! With a dull sound, Li Qiushu's body also flew backwards at this time, and after drawing a parabola in the air, it fell to the place under the high platform. Li Qiushu stood up and glanced at Lin Fan. Although there was reluctance in his eyes, he also knew that this was a result that was destined to be unchangeable. The strength of the 5th level of evolution was too strong for him now. In front of Lin Fan, he didn't even have the strength to fight back, let alone defeat Lin Fan. Chu Hongxun swept his eyes across the field, looked at Li Qiushu, then looked at Lin Fan, and then announced loudly, "Lin Fan wins this competition." Although everyone already knew the result, when Chu Hongxun announced it, everyone cheered in unison, and many people shouted loudly that Lin Fan was awesome and mighty. The whole square became extremely lively. Lin Fan's victory meant that the score between the two sides became 6-4. In this way, Chu Hongxun's camp won. Lin Fan glanced at Chu Hongxun, then looked at Fen Kang and Dong Xianzhou, bowed slightly to the three of them, then turned and walked down the platform and returned to Murin Zhu and others. Originally, some students wanted to rush up and lift Lin Fan up in the air, but they thought calmly again. Lin Fan was already a level 5 evolver. If Lin Fan didn't like such an action, wouldn't it be equivalent to offending Lin Fan? So, after this idea came into their minds, they quickly gave up. Li Qiushu also walked back to Qin Changquang and the others, and Qin Changquang and the others spoke to comfort Li Qiushu. They could all see that this failure was a big blow to Li Qiushu. After all, Li Qiushu always thought that he was the number 1 among the students. Who would have thought that there was such a big gap between him and Lin Fan? Facing such a gap, not to mention that Li Qiushu would be hit, even if it were anyone else, it would probably be a bigger blow. "Brother Dong, the competition is over." Chu Hongxun walked in front of Dong Xianzhou and said. "Yes." Dong Xianzhou nodded, then stood up and came to the front of the platform. Dong Xianzhou glanced at all the students and said loudly, "Dear students, you all performed very well today. Although some of you won the competition and some lost the competition, it's all in the past. The most important thing is that you have a satisfactory account of your experience during this period. I believe you will continue to grow better on the road ahead. Yes, everyone answered in unison. Dong Xianzhuo continued, according to the situation of both camps, the score between Instructor Chu's camp and Instructor Feng's camp is 6-4. Instructor Chu's camp won. As mentioned before, I will give rewards, and the rewards will be distributed later. Okay, everyone, this competition between the two camps is now completely over. You should have a good rest for a day. We will have specific follow-up arrangements after tomorrow. Yes, everyone answered in unison again. They all knew what Dong Xianzhuo meant by the follow-up arrangements. There is no doubt that it refers to the selection of candidates who can participate in the Global Genius competition. As for those who were not selected, they either stayed in the training base to become people like Big Bear and Little Rabbit, or returned to where they came from. In short, this training was completely over. Instructor Chu, Instructor Feng, come with me. Dong Xianzhuo looked at Chu Hongxun and Feng Kang and said, Okay, Chief. Chu Hongxun and Feng Kang looked at each other and answered in unison. In private, they can call Dong Xianzhuo Brother Dong, but in front of others, they still have to respectfully call Dong Xianzhuo Chief. The three did not delay here and turned to leave. After Dong Xianzhuo and the other two left, the atmosphere here not only did not subside, but became even more heated. Many students from Chu Hongxun's camp came to greet Lin Fan. No matter what, Lin Fan brought them Dong Xianzhuo's reward, and they should indeed express their gratitude to Lin Fan. Lin Fan responded to all those who came to thank him. But what Lin Fan did not expect was that Li Keishu actually walked towards him. What is Li Keishu doing here? Is he not convinced of the failure just now? Damn, not really. What is there to be unconvinced about? There is such a big gap between his strength and Lin Fan's. Even if he is unconvinced, what's the use? Yes, such a big gap in strength cannot be solved by just being unconvinced. You will know if you keep watching. Everyone saw Li Keishu walking towards Lin Fan, and they couldn't help but speculate. Hearing these voices, Lin Fan also looked towards Li Keishu. Facing the gazes and speculations of the crowd, Li Keishu did not have any obvious reaction. He still walked towards Lin Fan and soon came to Lin Fan. Lin Fan, you are very strong. I am not as good as you. Li Keishu stretched out his palm to Lin Fan and said, Before, we fought for the victory of both camps. Now we all know that we are going to participate in the global talent competition for our country. We are still partners. Li Keishu said this very sincerely, without any false elements in it. Because, he knew very well that he and Lin Fan would both be among the reserve candidates and would definitely represent the country to participate in the global talent competition. He just thought about it carefully. Since he was going to participate in the global talent competition with Lin Fan and compete with the talents of other countries, it would be unnecessary to have a relationship with Lin Fan as an enemy. Even if he just lost to Lin Fan and lost a lot of face, he should put aside the past grudges and shake hands with Lin Fan. What is this guy up to? Murin Sham couldn't help but mutter as she watched Li Keishu's actions. She had a feeling that Li Keishu had bad intentions. There was no way. Li Keishu had a younger brother like Qin Shangquang. This caused Murin Sham to have a preconceived feeling when she looked at Li Keishu. She would simply think that Li Keishu and Qin Shangquang were birds of a feather. Lin Fan didn't mind what Li Keishu was up to. Anyway, for him, Li Keishu had always been left behind by him, and Li Keishu would never have a chance to surpass him in this life. Then, judging from the attitude of Li Keishu's words just now, he also didn't feel that Li Keishu had any other thoughts. Perhaps, this guy really had an epiphany. This was also the case. Li Keishu found that his talent and growth potential were not comparable to Lin Fan. In the same period of time, Lin Fan's growth rate was so much faster than his. Instead of becoming an enemy with someone like Lin Fan, it would be better to become friends with Lin Fan. At least, it is better to have one more friend than one more enemy. Come on. Lin Fan smiled slightly, stretched out his hand and shook hands with Li Keishu, and said, Strive to get a good ranking in the global talent competition and win glory for our country. Yes, Li Keishu nodded heavily. In his opinion, Lin Fan was able to stretch out his hand and shake hands with him and say these words, which meant that Lin Fan no longer cared about his previous mistakes. Lin Fan really didn't care about these things. Li Keishu was destined to be defeated by him. Even if Li Keishu wanted to play tricks later, He didn't have to be afraid. After chatting here for a while, Lin Fan and others did not stay any longer and returned to the accommodation area. Chapter 602, Chat Alone. In an office, Dong Xianzhou, Chu Hongsun, and Feng Kang were gathered here. Come, let's sit down and talk. Dong Xianzhou glanced at Chu Hongsun and Feng Kang, and asked Chu Hongsun and Feng Kang to sit down. This office was not too big. It was Dong Xianzhou's temporary office at the training base. It was usually used when he had meetings with Chu Hongsun and Feng Kang. After all, Chu Hongsun and Feng Kang were in charge of this training base. Chu Hongsun and Feng Kang had the highest positions in the training base, so he only needed to communicate with Chu Hongsun and Feng Kang. Do you have any opinions about this competition? Dong Xianzhou asked with a smile. Speak freely, you can say whatever you think. Chu Hongsun did not speak, but Feng Kang spoke. Brother Dong, old Chu, to be honest, I really did not expect Lin Fan's strength to improve so quickly. It has only been a short time, and he has become a level 5 evolver. Moreover, he has the ability to control objects through the air. Once this ability is unleashed, it is not a problem for him to challenge opponents of higher levels. In other words, he now has the strength of a mid-level level 5 evolver. It is too unexpected. In this competition, I did not lose unfairly. I lost with my heart. Everyone here is his own people, and Feng Kang has nothing to hide. He spoke out his own thoughts. Indeed, for him, Lin Fan's strength was too surprising, even incredible. If he had not seen it with his own eyes, he would not believe that Lin Fan would have such a strong strength. Hearing Feng Kang say this, Chu Hongsun smiled slightly and said, Old Feng, you are not the only one who is surprised. When I learned that Lin Fan has the strength of a level 5 evolver, I was also quite shocked. The most important thing is that they also told me that when Lin Fan was in the early stage of the level 5 evolver, he killed a person in the middle stage of the level 5 evolver without using his supernatural powers. What? Feng Kang was a little stunned, wondering if he had heard it wrong. He killed a person in the middle stage of the level 5 evolver without using his supernatural powers. Yes, you also know this person, Xiao Hongda, the head of the Xia family in Luocheng. Xiao Hongda's strength broke through to the middle stage of the level 5 evolver, but because of a conflict with Lin Fan and others, Lin Fan eliminated the Xia family. Of course, the Zheng family was also eliminated, Chu Hongsun added. Feng Kang's mood at this time is no longer just shocked. He really never dreamed that Lin Fan's strength would be so powerful. If he can kill a person in the middle stage of the 5th level evolver without using his superpowers, then if he uses his superpowers, wouldn't he be comparable to a person in the late stage of the 5th level evolver? Thinking of this, Feng Kang couldn't help but feel that the world was a little crazy. Dong Xianzhou glanced at Feng Kang and said with a smile, Fortunately, Lin Fan is a genius in our country. If he was a genius from another country, it would really give us a headache. Yes, Feng Kang nodded in agreement. Such a genius is really lucky for them. But, Brother Dong, how did Lin Fan grow up? This growth speed is so fast that I can't believe it, Feng Kang said with shock in his tone. Lin Fan's growth speed made him feel that he was out of reach. Not to mention whether Lin Fan's current strength has surpassed him, he can be sure that it won't be long before Lin Fan can become a 6th level evolver. Dong Xianzhou shook his head and said, I don't know how he grew up. Everyone has their own secrets, and it's not easy for us to ask about his secrets. In short, he is a member of our country. As long as he doesn't do anything harmful to our country, he is the one we want to protect. We must let him grow up faster. We need such talents too much. Indeed, such talents are not only needed by us, but also by other countries. If we don't take good care of him, if he goes to invest in other countries, it will be a huge loss for us, Feng Kang said. Chu Hongsun added, From what I know about Lin Fan, he is not such a person. He still has a very strong sense of patriotism and will definitely not do anything out of line. Well, I hope so. Dong Xianzhou nodded and said, By the way, there is another thing I want to discuss with you when I call you here, which is about the global genius competition. About the global genius competition, Chu Hongsun and Feng Kang were slightly startled. Then, Chu Hongsun asked, Brother Dong, is it about the quota? Yes, we have got 20 quotas now, Dong Xianzhou pondered. 5 places can finally participate in the global genius competition. That is to say, we have to screen out 20 places first, and then select 5 from these 20 places to let them really participate in the global genius competition. 5 places don't seem to be too few, Feng Kang said. It's indeed not too few. As far as I know, some smaller countries only have 1 place to participate, Dong Xianzhuo responded. Are we selecting 20 places based on this competition? Feng Kang asked. Yes, Dong Xianzhuo nodded and said, I want to see who you recommend, Brother Dong. For me, it's the last 10 people, Chu Hongxun answered first. The last 10 people he mentioned naturally refer to the 10 people in the competition between the 2 camps. Brother Dong, my situation is the same as Lao Chu's, it's also the last 10 people, Feng Kang followed. The last 10 people were selected based on the previous competitions, and they were quite good in both strength and other aspects. The people you recommended are not much different from what I guessed, Dong Xianzhuo smiled. What do you mean, Brother Dong? Chu Hongxun and Feng Kang asked curiously. Since both of you recommend in this way, then according to what you said, it is the last 20 people, Dong Xianzhuo said with a smile. I have seen the last 20 people, and the performances are very good. Selecting them and training them specifically, and then letting them participate in the Global Genius competition should be able to give us a satisfactory answer. Lin Fan is inevitable, Feng Kang said. Haha, this is right, Dong Xianzhuo also smiled and said, I am looking forward to Lin Fan's strength breaking through to the 6th level of evolution before participating in the Global Genius competition. Breakthrough to the 6th level of evolution? Isn't this too difficult? Feng Kang was shocked. We don't know how big Lin Fan's potential is. Just like no one would have thought that he already has the strength of a level 5 evolver this time, maybe he will give us another big surprise next time, right? Dong Xianzhuo said. That's true, Feng Kang nodded. Dong Xianzhuo said so. How could he refute anything? After all, Dong Xianzhuo's vision of people must be more accurate than his. Even Dong Xianzhuo said that Lin Fan might break through to the level of a level 6 evolver, which means that Lin Fan really has this possibility. At this time, if he still wants to refute, it would be too ignorant of the current situation. By the way, Brother Dong, how long will the Global Genius competition start? Feng Kang asked curiously. Chu Hongxun was obviously also very curious about this question, so after hearing Feng Kang's question, his eyes also shifted to Dong Xianzhuo, looking forward to Dong Xianzhuo's answer. Dong Xianzhuo took a deep breath and said, the specific time is 3 months later, starting in 3 months? So soon? Chu Hongxun and Feng Kang were a little surprised. Yes, the time has been advanced, Dong Xianzhuo said. Then should we take Lin Fan and others to train abroad or somewhere else? Chu Hongxun asked. Let's go abroad for training, Dong Xianzhuo thought for a while and said, in China, no matter what, they are all people from our own country. It would not be good if there are too many casualties, then where should we take them? Feng Kang asked. To the African savannah, Dong Xianzhuo replied. African savannah, Chu Hongxun and Feng Kang were shocked again. Yes, before the doomsday, there were already a lot of animals there. After the doomsday, there must be a lot of animal zombies there. Letting them go to such a place for training, I think it will be more helpful for their strength improvement, Dong Xianzhuo said. This was something he decided after receiving the specific time notice. Okay, Brother Dong, Chu Hongxun and Feng Kang nodded at the same time. Then, Feng Kang asked again, Brother Dong, for the rest of the students, should we let them choose to stay or leave? Yes, let them decide for themselves. For those who want to stay, you should arrange their daily work. For those who don't want to stay, you should arrange helicopters to send them back to where they were picked up from, Dong Xianzhuo said. Yes, Chu Hongxun and Feng Kang answered in unison. Dong Xianzhuo looked at Chu Hongxun and said, Your Camp 1. You know what the rewards are. You can distribute them to them. As for the 20 people who are selected to continue training, there will be other rewards. Although Li Keishu and others did not belong to Chu Hongxun's camp, this was related to their participation in the global talent competition on behalf of the country. They still had to get the rewards they deserved, which was also considered to support the improvement of Li Keishu and others' strength. Okay, Brother Dong, Chu Hongxun nodded in response. Okay, all of you go down, and then ask Lin Fan to come to me. I want to talk to Lin Fan alone, Dong Xianzhuo ordered. Chapter 603, Andy's Stay or Departure. Dong Xianzhuo naturally had to have a private discussion with a talent like Lin Fan. Although he would not ask how Lin Fan improved so quickly, he could still learn some information. At least, He had to make sure whether Lin Fan's rapid improvement had any other negative effects. If there were other negative effects, he would have to advise Lin Fan not to affect his future growth for the sake of temporary progress. Dong Xianzhou sat alone in the office waiting for Lin Fan's arrival. After Chu Hongxun and Fen Kang left the office, Chu Hongxun said, "Then I'll go and notify Lin Fan. He is a student in your camp, so you must go and notify him." "Do you want me to do it?" Fen Kang looked at Chu Hongxun unhappily. "Haha, Lao Feng, from what you said, there is no need to divide these things anymore. Now our goal is the Global Genius Competition. We just hope that they can shine in the Global Genius Competition and win glory for our country," Chu Hongxun said with a smile. Hearing this, Fen Kang nodded. He was just joking. On such a matter of right and wrong, how could he not know how to choose? "Okay, you go and inform Lin Fan. I'll go see Li Qiushu. His failure today must have been a big blow to him. I have to comfort him a little bit," Fen Kang said. "Okay," Chu Hongxun also nodded. Then, the two of them didn't waste any more time and went their separate ways. At this moment, Lin Fan was looking at Andy in the room, thinking that they would definitely go to other places for training next. Should he take Andy with him or not? Because, from the fact that Andy was not allowed to participate in the marriage competition between the two camps this time, it can be judged that Andy would not be allowed to participate in the Global Genius Competition. Just as Lin Fan was thinking about this problem, a knock on the door suddenly sounded. "Who?" Lin Fan frowned and asked. At this time, he believed that the people who came to see him were not Murangzu and others. "Lin Fan, it's me," Chu Hongxun answered outside the door. It turned out to be Instructor Chu. Lin Fan's frown relaxed, reached out and touched Andy's head, and then walked over to open the door for Chu Hongxun. "Instructor," Lin Fan looked at Chu Hongxun and shouted. Chu Hongxun nodded and asked with a smile, "Did I disturb your rest?" "I haven't rested yet." Lin Fan smiled and greeted, "Instructor, come in and sit down." "Okay." Chu Hongxun didn't delay and walked into the room. Andy looked up at Chu Hongxun, and Chu Hongxun also noticed Andy and said, "By the way, Lin Fan, seeing Andy reminds me of a question." "What question?" Lin Fan was slightly startled. "In the next period of time, the leader said that he would arrange for you to go to the African savannah for training. 3 months later, the global talent competition will begin. Your time is very tight. Only in such a dangerous place can the potential be squeezed out as much as possible." Chu Hongxun still looked at Andy and said, "The reserve candidates for the global talent competition are the 20 people who will participate in the final competition between the two camps. After 3 months of training, 5 people will be selected to participate in the global talent competition. Andy is definitely not in this group. What I want to ask you is that the African savannah is full of dangers. Although Andy cannot get a good place to participate, it is still possible to take him to the training. Do you plan to take Andy to the training or leave Andy here at the base?" Lin Fan got a lot of information from Chu Hongxun's words. The first piece of information was that the global talent competition would start in only 3 months. The second piece of information was that they would go to the African savannah for training in the next 3 months. The third piece of information was that he would decide whether Andy should stay or go. Putting aside the first 2 pieces of information, the third piece of information was originally the question he was considering just now. Lin Fan also looked at Andy, and then asked with a smile, "Let Andy decide this question. Andy, do you want to go to the African savannah with us for training or stay at the base? If you want to go, just nod your head. If you don't want to go, just shake your head." Andy is already at the late stage of level 4, and has the ability to judge these things. Hearing Lin Fan's question, Andy nodded without hesitation, without even a second of hesitation. "Okay, since you want to go to the African savannah with us for training, then go with us," Lin Fan said with a smile. Chu Hongxun saw the scene and naturally understood the decision made by Andy. "By the way, Lin Fan, the chief wants to see you and talk to you alone," Chu Hongxun said. "Instructor, do you mean now or when?" Lin Fan asked back. He was not surprised that Dong Xianzhou wanted to see him in person. Whether it was the talent he showed or his performance this time, it was worth it for Dong Xianzhou to see him in person. "Right now," Chu Hongxun said with a smile, "the chief is still waiting in the office, and he asked me to come and inform you to go." "Okay, let's go." Lin Fan nodded. He also wanted to see what Dong Xianzhou would say to him. "Well, let's go." Chu Hongxun did not delay, and walked in front to lead the way for Lin Fan. Lin Fan did not know where the office was, so he had to lead the way. Not long after, they arrived outside the office. "You go in by yourself, I won't follow you in." Chu Hongsun glanced at the closed door of the office, then looked at Lin Fan and said. Dong Xianzhou had said before that he wanted to talk to Lin Fan alone, so he naturally would not be so shameless as to be a light bulb. "Okay," Lin Fan responded, walked towards the office door, and knocked on the door. "Come in." A voice soon came from the door. Lin Fan pushed the door open and walked in, and closed the door again. Seeing Lin Fan enter the office, Chu Hongsun did not delay anything outside, and turned to leave. He had accomplished his mission by bringing Lin Fan here. As for going back, he believed that Lin Fan would remember the way. When Lin Fan walked into the office, he saw Dong Xianzhou sitting alone on the sofa. "Hello, Chief," Lin Fan greeted him. "Lin Fan, come and sit down." Dong Xianzhou's eyes fell on Lin Fan and he greeted him with a smile. Lin Fan walked over and sat down. Dong Xianzhou opened the topic. "There's nothing else I want to call you here for, I just want to chat with you casually. First of all, I want to congratulate you. Your strength has improved so quickly, which is beyond all of our expectations. Secondly, congratulations on winning the championship in this competition between the two camps. Finally, regarding the reward, I think you will be satisfied." Chapter 604 Special Reward. Dong Xianzhou said this to make the atmosphere more relaxed. Otherwise, if Lin Fan was very nervous when facing him alone, it would be difficult to start some topics. Facts have proved that Dong Xianzhou was a little overthinking. Even though Dong Xianzhou was a level 6 evolver and had a very high status, Lin Fan was still very calm when facing Dong Xianzhou. There was no such thing as stage fright. This had nothing to do with Lin Fan's strength. The main thing was that he had experienced life and death once. As a person who had lived twice, what else was there that he was afraid to face? However, since Dong Xianzhou said so, Lin Fan naturally had to give him face. "Thank you, Chief," Lin Fan thanked him politely. Seeing Lin Fan's reaction, Dong Xianzhou was surprised. He didn't expect that Lin Fan could be so calm when facing him. If it were another student, he would never have such a performance. This made him look up to Lin Fan a little more. "Lin Fan, your strength has improved so quickly. I won't ask you about the secret of your improvement, but from my perspective, I still want to remind you," Dong Xianzhou was alert and said solemnly, "if the way you improve will affect your future, then you should stop. Your talent and growth potential are very huge. It's not worth sacrificing your future for a rapid improvement now." Lin Fan had thought about what Dong Xianzhou wanted to say when he came, and it seems that he was right. "Please rest assured, my current way of improvement will not have any impact on my future, my talent and growth potential. Everything is progressing step by step," Lin Fan said without changing his face. Although he was able to improve so quickly because of absorbing energy crystals, more often, he still relied on the ring to pick up attributes to improve. The ring was something that came with him after his rebirth, and he was not going to tell anyone the secret of the ring. The most important thing is that he believed that this way of using the ring to assist in picking up attributes to improve his strength would not cause any adverse effects on him. After all, this was indeed an increase in his attributes. Attributes are something that cannot be faked. Hearing Lin Fan's firm words, Dong Xianzhou felt relieved, but he was also curious about how Lin Fan improved. What kind of method could make Lin Fan's strength improve so quickly? But even though he was curious, Dong Xianzhou, from the perspective of the leader, could not force Lin Fan to tell him. "Okay, as long as it doesn't have a bad impact on you, I'll be relieved," Dong Xianzhou nodded with satisfaction. Then, he changed the subject and said, "By the way, when Instructor Chu came to see you just now, did he tell you that he would let you go to the African savannah for training in the next 3 months?" "Yes, Instructor Chu also asked me whether I planned to let Andy go with me for training or let Andy stay," Lin Fan said. "Andy?" Dong Xianzhou was slightly startled, then laughed. "I actually forgot about Andy when I discussed with him before. It's good that he mentioned it. So how did you decide?" "Although Andy can't participate in the global talent competition, I think that if he can go to the African savannah to train, it will definitely be good for his strength. I want him to go with us, and he thinks so too," Lin Fan replied. "Andy himself is an animal, and he has evolved and mutated. His talent and growth potential are not necessarily worse than many human evolutionists. If he goes to train with us, the benefits will definitely outweigh the disadvantages for Andy, Dong Xianzhuo said. Yes, Andy has the potential to be promoted to level 5, Lin Fan smiled. Not bad, Dong Xianzhuo nodded again with satisfaction and said, Andy has the potential to be promoted to level 5, and you have the potential to be promoted to level 6. I was telling Instructor Chu and Instructor Feng that you might become a level 6 evolver before the Global Genius competition. Level 6 evolver, Lin Fan frowned slightly at Dong Xianzhuo's words. It is very difficult to upgrade from the early stage of level 5 evolver to the early stage of level 6 evolver in 3 months. Under normal circumstances, it is definitely impossible to do it, unless he can encounter many beings that can pick up attributes during the next training in the African savannah. In that case, there is no big problem in picking up attributes through the ring. Chief, I will do my best, especially in the Global Genius competition. I will definitely go all out and strive to win honor for our country, Lin Fan said seriously. Hearing this, Dong Xianzhuo instantly became more optimistic about Lin Fan. Lin Fan's words were undoubtedly telling him that he had patriotic feelings. Good. Very good, Dong Xianzhuo nodded with satisfaction. You have performed exceptionally well this time. In addition to rewarding you with a level 5 energy crystal, I also have a special reward for you, Dong Xianzhuo added. Level 5 energy crystal. Special reward? Lin Fan couldn't help but show a hint of expectation in his eyes. He was not surprised by the reward of level 5 energy crystal. After all, Dong Xianzhuo also hoped that his strength could be improved faster, and rewarding him with level 5 energy crystal was naturally for this purpose. But he couldn't help but feel curious about the special reward Dong Xianzhuo mentioned. If someone like Dong Xianzhuo could describe it as special, then there is no doubt that this reward would be very unusual. Wait, I'll get it, Dong Xianzhuo said, then stood up and walked out. He returned to his car and quickly took a box and walked back to the office. This was something he had prepared for Lin Fan before coming here, but he just forgot to bring it up. Seeing Dong Xianzhuo coming back with a box, Lin Fan didn't need to guess that the thing in the box was the reward Dong Xianzhuo wanted to give him. Open it and have a look, Dong Xianzhuo sat back on the sofa and handed the box to Lin Fan. Okay, Lin Fan nodded and opened the box with expectation. Suddenly, 3 very sharp daggers appeared in his sight. Daggers, Lin Fan's eyes were fixed on the 3 daggers. Just by looking at them, he could feel the sharp breath permeating from the daggers. In other words, these 3 daggers are extremely sharp, and it is not an exaggeration to describe them as being able to cut through air with a gust of wind. I know that your ability is to control objects through the air. This ability can be used with a small dagger to attack or sneak attack, which can have a very good effect. Dong Xianzhuo smiled slightly and said, so, these 3 daggers are hidden weapons I specially prepared for you. They are all made of a very special material and are very sharp. If you don't believe it, you can try it. Chapter 605 I really haven't considered it. Special materials. Dong Xianzhuo's words reminded Lin Fan of the special materials that Old Wang used when forging weapons. However, from a feeling, the materials used to make this dagger should be more special than the materials used by Old Wang, or even more powerful. Since Dong Xianzhuo asked him to try it, Lin Fan had no reason to hesitate. With a thought, he controlled the 3 daggers in the box to fly up. Whoosh! 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 Under the control of his mind, the 3 daggers stabbed forward violently, and in an instant, 3 extremely piercing sounds of breaking through the air were made. This sound of breaking through the air was more exciting than when he controlled his 3 hidden weapons. Sure enough, they are very sharp. Lin Fan tested it out like this, and found out that these 3 daggers were indeed very sharp. Are you satisfied? Dong Xianzhuo asked with a smile. Satisfied, very satisfied, thank you, Chief, Lin Fan thanked him. Lin Fan was indeed very satisfied with these 3 daggers. Whether from the perspective of sharpness or other aspects, there was nothing wrong with them. It can also be seen from here that Dong Xianzhuo really put a lot of thought into the special reward he prepared for him. Haha. As long as you are satisfied, Dong Xianzhuo said with a smile, there is still no restriction on the use of weapons in the Global Genius competition. I hope these 3 daggers can bring you a lot of combat power increase. Of course, during your training in the African savannah, these 3 daggers will definitely bring you great benefits. These are all very important. Dong Xianzhuo knew that these 3 daggers would definitely bring Lin Fan a great combat power increase. With these daggers on his body, Lin Fan's ability to save his life would increase a lot. Please rest assured, Chief, I will definitely make these 3 daggers play their due value, Lin Fan said in a deep voice. Okay, I am naturally relieved to hear you say that, Dong Xianzhuo nodded. Lin Fan, I have another question to ask you, Dong Xianzhuo suddenly said. What's the question? Lin Fan was slightly startled, but he didn't know what Dong Xianzhuo wanted to ask. This question is a digression. Just answer from the perspective of us being friends, Dong Xianzhuo smiled faintly. Okay, Lin Fan nodded. I want to ask you, what are your plans after the Global Genius competition? Dong Yuan asked seriously. Dong Xianzhuo really cares about this question. Chief, to be honest, I haven't really thought about this question. Lin Fan's eyes condensed, and he also answered seriously, if there are no other plans at that time, then I will definitely return to China to develop. Lin Fan knew that Dong Xianzhuo asked this question because he wanted to see if he planned to stay abroad. For this kind of question, if he insisted that he would return to China 100%, it would seem a little unreal. Especially when facing someone like Dong Xianzhuo, giving an ambiguous and less certain answer would make it easier for Dong Xianzhuo to believe it. As expected, Dong Xianzhuo felt that Lin Fan's answer was very reliable. Okay, then I look forward to the day when you return to China to develop. Dong Xianzhuo directly dropped a bombshell and said, as long as you are willing to stay in China to develop, your status and position will definitely be very high. The meaning of Dong Xianzhuo's words is already very clear, that is, to tell Lin Fan that as long as Lin Fan comes back, he will give Lin Fan a very high position. After all, with Lin Fan's strength, talent and growth potential, he is indeed worthy of a very high position. Dong Xianzhuo believes that after knowing Lin Fan, the other countries will probably offer very good conditions for Lin Fan to go there. In the Doomsday era, the competition for talents will be more intense than in normal times. Especially talents like Lin Fan, that is definitely the existence that every country wants to compete for. Lin Fan thanked Dong Xianzhuo again, and then the two of them continued to chat for a while, and then Lin Fan got up and said goodbye. After leaving the office, Lin Fan did not delay anything halfway, and went straight back to the accommodation area. It was already very late, and everyone was asleep. Lin Fan returned to the room, and Andy opened his eyes and looked at him. Lin Fan smiled and said, Andy, go back to sleep. Andy nodded. Lin Fan also lay down on the bed and fell asleep. The next morning, Lin Fan called Murengzhu, Murengshan, Li Zihan, Mu Hongling, and Lu Mingying together. Wei Heguang and Zhang Fiwen were not among the 20 places, so Lin Fan did not call Wei Heguang and Zhang Fiwen over. Last night, after you rested, Instructor Chu came to me. I also went to see the commander and learn some things about the arrangements. Now I will tell you. Lin Fan glanced at Murengzhu and others and said slowly. Hearing this, Murengzhu and others all looked at Lin Fan intently. First of all, the specific time of the Global Genius competition has been determined, Lin Fan said. Brother Lin Fan, when is it? Murengshan immediately asked curiously. 3 months later, Lin Fan replied. 3 months later? So soon? Murengzhu and others were a little surprised. It is indeed relatively fast, but it is not bad. After all, we have trained for such a long time before this, Lin Fan smiled. We will all go abroad by then, right? Murengshan continued to ask. Not going by then, but going soon, Lin Fan said. Immediately, Murengzhu and others were shocked again. Yes, Lin Fan nodded and said, there are 20 reserve candidates for the global talent competition this time, and we are all among the 20 reserve candidates. Who are the others? Li Zihan asked. The final 20 people from our 2 camps, Lin Fan replied. Is that so? Everyone nodded. What about Andy? Murengshan asked immediately. Murengzhu and others also looked at Andy. There are only 20 places for reserve candidates, and they will definitely face training next. In this case, what should be done with Andy? During the training, Andy will also be with us, but Andy is not eligible to participate in the final competition, Lin Fan said. Can you come along? That's great, Murengshan nodded happily. What does the final selection competition mean? Lu Mingying asked. There are 20 reserve candidates, but only 5 people can represent our country in the global talent competition. That is to say, out of the 20, 15 will be eliminated, Lin Fan said. 5, this number surprised them all. They didn't expect that only 5 would be selected. The final number of places should be decided by the world, not by ourselves, Lin Fan pondered. Then where are we going to train? Mu Hongling asked. The African Savannah, Lin Fan replied. Chapter 606, Rewards. African Savannah. When Lin Fan said these 5 words, Murengzu and others were all a little surprised. They didn't expect that they would be sent to the African Savannah for training for 3 months. Are we being trained there directly or will there be an instructor to take us there? Murenshan asked. I didn't ask that. Anyway, what is certain is that we will definitely spend the next 3 months on the African Savannah. Lin Fan smiled and said, before the doomsday, there were a lot of animals gathered there. After the doomsday, there must be a lot of animal zombies. Training in such a place is definitely a good thing for us. Moreover, maybe it's not just us who are training there. I think geniuses from other countries may also go there for training. Maybe we can meet them in advance. Lin Fan was telling the truth. Dong Xianzhou could think of arranging them to train on the African Savannah, so it is not ruled out that other countries would think of arranging geniuses to train on the African Savannah. In short, there will definitely be dangers on this trip. But dangers are accompanied by opportunities. As long as they seize the opportunity, they will definitely improve their strength by a large margin. I'm quite looking forward to it, Murenshan chuckled. I haven't been to a place like the African Savannah. I've only seen it in Animal World before. Yeah, everyone was a little emotional. Animal World is a documentary that many people liked to watch when they were young. I believe that everyone has fantasized about experiencing it in person when they saw it. Now for Lin Fan and others, this fantasy is about to become a reality. When are we leaving there? Li Ziham looked at Lin Fan curiously and asked. I guess it will be in the next 2 days, Lin Fan responded with a smile. He really didn't know the specific departure time, but it was only 3 months away from the start of the global talent competition. According to this reasoning, it can be judged that they can't delay too long. By the way, Brother Lin Fan, didn't you say that there will be rewards for winning the competition between the 2 camps? When will the rewards be given to us? Murenshan asked. It should be today, Lin Fan said. That's great, Murenshan excitedly waved her little fist. Lin Fan, let's continue training. What about the other students? Where are they going? Lu Mingyan asked. When Lu Mingyan asked this question, everyone knew what he meant. He was undoubtedly asking Wei Haiguang and Zhang Fiwen what to do. Lin Fan straightened his face and said, this seems to be letting them make their own choices. Make their own choices? What do you mean? Lu Mingyan was a little confused and didn't quite understand what Lin Fan said. It means that if they are willing to stay here, then let them stay. We will arrange specific work for them. If they don't want to stay here, we will arrange a helicopter to send them back to their original place, Lin Fan said. So, if they choose to stay, it is equivalent to being with Big Bear, Little Rabbit and others, Lu Mingyan asked. Yes, that's about it, Lin Fan nodded. Then it's obviously better to stay, Lu Mingyan pondered and said, staying here, at least there is still a chance to receive systematic training. For their strength improvement, it is definitely 100 benefits and no harm. That's right, Lin Fan nodded. This training base, no matter what, is commanded by level 5 evolvers like Chu Hongxun and Fen Kang, and with Dong Xianzhou behind it, it is definitely better than any other place in the country. It is naturally harmless for the students to choose to stay here. Although I have not known Wei Haiguang and Zhang Fiwen for a long time, we have known each other after all, and we have become teammates together. I will talk to them about this issue later and see what choice they will make, Lin Fan said. Wei Haiguang and Zhang Fiwen's performance did not allow them to qualify as candidates for the Global Genius competition. This is something that everyone regrets, but no matter what, they have become teammates for a period of time. Wei Haiguang and Zhang Fiwen's performance during the period of being teammates is not bad, and they are very active. Therefore, Lin Fan feels it is necessary to give them a suggestion to let them continue to stay at the base, which is the most beneficial result for them. Lin Fan quickly called Wei Haiguang and Zhang Fiwen together, and first told them about going to the African Savannah for training in the next 3 months. Then, he told them about the issue of whether the other students should stay or go. Have you made up your mind? Lin Fan smiled and said, from my personal point of view, I think if you stay, your strength will be improved faster. After all, there is systematic training here. Although Instructor Chu and Fen Kang will go to the African Savannah with us this time, this training base will definitely arrange new instructors to take over the management. Lin Fan was not wrong about this. After Chu Hongsun and Fen Kang followed them to the African savannah, Dong Xianzhou would arrange new instructors to manage this training base. The normal operation of this training base must be maintained. It is nothing more than waiting for Chu Hongsun and Fen Kang to return and then return their positions to them. Hearing Lin Fan say this, Wei Heguang lowered his head and thought for a while. After a moment, he made a decision and said, I want to stay and continue to improve my strength here. After Wei Heguang finished speaking, Zhang Fiwen also said, I will stay too. Only here can we improve our strength faster. After returning, the speed of improving our strength will inevitably decrease. Okay, congratulations on making the right choice, Lin Fan said with a smile. Wei Heguang and Zhang Fiwen stayed in the training base. With their hard-working spirit, they will definitely have a bright future. At noon, Chu Hongsun and Fen Kang distributed the rewards prepared by Dong Xianzhou to the students. On Fen Kang's side, only Li Keishu and 10 others received the rewards. On Chu Hongsun's side, the rest of the students only received 3 energy crystals corresponding to their strength. The number was not much, but they all knew that this was something they got for nothing without any hard work and effort. After all, the last 10 competitions were all the credit of Lin Fan and others. As for Lin Fan and his 10 people, they naturally received more rewards. Murengzhu and the other 9 were level 4 evolvers, so they received level 4 energy crystals, 10 each. Lin Fan was a level 5 evolver, so his reward was level 5 energy crystals. As for the quantity, there were not 10, but only 5. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 607, Did they really shake hands and make peace? Although Lin Fan only received 5 level 5 energy crystals as a reward, which was half the amount of what Murengzhu and others received, it should be noted that level 5 energy crystals are much more precious than level 4 energy crystals. It can be said without hesitation that one level 5 energy crystal can be exchanged for at least 5 level 4 energy crystals, and it is not impossible to exchange for more. After all, it is much more difficult to get one level 5 energy crystal than 5 level 4 energy crystals. 5 level 5 energy crystals, this is the rich reward for Lin Fan to win the first place. For such a reward, Lin Fan is still quite satisfied. In addition to issuing this reward, Chu Hongsun also notified another news. This news is to tell Lin Fan and others to get ready, and they will set off for the African savannah early tomorrow morning. It is less than 3 months before the Global Genius competition begins, and they must seize the time to start training. That night, the students who received the reward were all absorbing energy crystals in the room. Andy, you also absorbed those 10 level 4 energy crystals, Lin Fan looked at Andy and said with a smile. Although Andy did not take the written test and was not one of the top 20. However, Chu Hongsun and Dong Xianzhou knew that with Andy's strength at the late stage of level 4, if he could really participate in the competition, he would definitely be able to easily enter the top 20. In fact, Andy's strength might even exceed Mu Hongling and Li Keishu. Woof woof. Hearing Lin Fan's order, Andy barked twice in response. Then, Andy didn't waste any time and began to absorb the 10 level 4 energy crystals. Andy now has the strength of the late stage of level 4. Lin Fan knew that with Andy's talent and growth potential, if he continued like this, it wouldn't take long for him to reach the peak of level 4, and then he could sprint to the early stage of level 5 with all his heart and soul. Maybe Andy will be promoted to the level 5 faster than Li Keishu and Mu Hongling, Lin Fan thought secretly in his heart. This is not impossible. While Andy was absorbing the level 4 energy crystals, Lin Fan also walked to the bed and sat cross-legged. He also took out the 5 level 5 energy crystals he had obtained, and after scanning them with his eyes, he began to absorb them without stopping. After Lin Fan absorbed the 5 level 5 energy crystals, he could clearly feel that his aura had become stronger. Although he had not yet reached the point of breaking through to the middle stage of the level 5 evolver, he was very close to the middle stage of the level 5 evolver. He only needed to absorb 2 more level 5 energy crystals to make a breakthrough. Thinking of this, Lin Fan was also somewhat happy. There were still 3 months before the Global Genius competition, and he also wanted to become a level 6 evolver before the Global Genius competition began. In this way, it would be a sure thing to win the first place in the Global Genius competition. After all, His supernatural power could also enhance his combat effectiveness. Since it was still a few hours before dawn after absorbing the 5 level 5 energy crystals, Lin Fan did not intend to waste time and lay down on the bed to rest. Next, they would go to the dangerous place like the African savannah to train. At that time, it would be difficult for them to have a place to rest in peace. It was reasonable to have a good rest tonight. The next morning, just as the sky was getting light, Lin Fan and others got up one after another. Chu Hongsun and Fen Kang gathered them together. Chu Hongsun took a step forward, glanced at everyone, and said loudly, "I will give you 1 hour to pack up. In 1 hour, gather at the big square, and then we will go directly to the African savannah." "Yes," Lin Fan and others answered in unison, and then turned around without delay to pack up. This time, they have to bring more food and water. Because, when they are training in other places, if they don't have enough food and water, they can still go to supermarkets or small shops to grab them. But there are no supermarkets or small shops waiting for them on the African savannah. Although it is possible to encounter animals that have not turned into zombies and can be barbecued and eaten, the chance of encountering them is still relatively small, so it is better to bring more. After Qin Chang Kuang finished packing, he came to Li Keishu's room and waited for Li Keishu to pack up. Li Keishu glanced at Qin Chang Kuang and found that Qin Chang Kuang seemed to be hesitant to speak, so he couldn't help asking, "Do you have anything to say?" "Yes," Qin Chang Kuang didn't hide it and nodded. "Just say whatever you want to say, don't hold it in," Li Keishu said. In fact, he had roughly guessed what Qin Chang Kuang wanted to say, but he still gave Qin Chang Kuang a chance to say it himself. Qin Chang Kuang took a deep breath and pondered, "Brother Keishu, are we really shaking hands with Lin Fan and making peace?" Qin Chang Kuang still couldn't let go of the hurt that Lin Fan had brought him. This seemed to have formed a thorn in his heart. If he didn't deal with this thorn, he would always feel uncomfortable. After the competition that day, he saw Li Keishu shaking hands with Lin Fan and making peace, but he didn't know whether Li Keishu really wanted to shake hands with Lin Fan and make peace or just pretend to do it on the surface, and wait until she had a chance to surpass Lin Fan in the future before coming back for revenge. They were about to go to the African savannah for training, and he decided to ask about this matter clearly. Li Keishu was not surprised to hear Qin Chang Kuang ask this question. He guessed that Qin Chang Kuang would definitely ask, "Tell me, given Lin Fan's current talent and growth potential, or the gap in strength, how confident are you that you can surpass Lin Fan?" Li Keishu stared at Qin Chang Kuang and asked in a serious tone. Hearing this, Qin Chang Kuang hesitated for a moment, shook his head and said, "I'm not sure at all. You are not sure, and I am not sure either. Since neither of us is sure to surpass Lin Fan, what's the point of having a huge hatred for Lin Fan in our hearts?" Li Keishu said, "What's more, we have always been hostile to him, and he has never been subjectively hostile to us. In other words, as long as we are friends with him, he is willing to be friends with us. For such a person, do you think it is better to be friends or enemies? I don't need to teach you how to judge this, right?" Li Keishu did let go of his hatred for Lin Fan because he had already recognized the reality. This reality is what he said, that he was not sure of surpassing Lin Fan. Since none of them could surpass Lin Fan, why couldn't they become friends with Lin Fan? At least they wouldn't have to have another enemy like Lin Fan. This was a win-win situation from any angle. That night when Fen Kant came to him and talked about this matter, he told Fen Kant the same thing, which made Fen Kant very satisfied with his answer. Chapter 608 Going Abroad. Because Feng Kang was also worried that Li Keishu would bear a grudge against Lin Fan and continue to be an enemy of Lin Fan. In this way, if Li Keishu and Lin Fan had a conflict during the training in the African savannah, then there is no doubt that Li Keishu would suffer an extremely huge loss. When in this training base, Lin Fan would not kill, but outside the training base, there would be no restrictions in places like the African savannah. If Lin Fan killed Li Keishu at that time, with Li Keishu's strength, how could she be Lin Fan's opponent, and she would definitely die in Lin Fan's hands. It was because of this that Feng Kang went to find Li Keishu. But after talking with Li Keishu, he found that Li Keishu's mentality had changed a lot, and he clearly realized his own shortcomings and knew that he could not surpass Lin Fan under normal circumstances. Therefore, he also believed that Li Keishu really intended to let go of the grudge between him and Lin Fan and become friends with Lin Fan. Although it is debatable whether Lin Fan wants to become a true friend with Li Keishu, as long as Li Keishu does not take the initiative to cause trouble for Lin Fan, I think Lin Fan will not be bored enough to cause trouble for Li Keishu. After confirming this, Feng Kang was relieved. Chen Kong, you have been with me for a while, and I can tell you with certainty that as long as Lin Fan does not have any accidents, we will never be able to surpass him. Li Keishu reached out and patted Qin Chang Kuang on the shoulder, and said seriously, what's more, you should know that Lin Fan also has the ability to control objects through the air. Once he uses this ability, it will be difficult for us to sneak attack him. I won't help you make any decisions, but I still hope that you can face the reality. Having one less enemy like Lin Fan is definitely a good thing for you. There is no harm. Qin Chang Kuang did not answer immediately, but calmed down and thought about Li Keishu's words. In the end, he found that what Li Keishu said made sense. Because, to be honest, there is no deep hatred between them and Lin Fan. It is purely because his brother had a conflict with Lin Fan and others at the beginning. Otherwise, there would be no conflict between him and Lin Fan. Now Lin Fan is so powerful that even Li Keishu feels that it is impossible to surpass Lin Fan, let alone him. After 2 minutes, Qin Chang Kuang nodded and said, Brother Keishu, you are right. It is impossible for us to surpass Lin Fan. In this case, it is a very unwise decision to establish Lin Fan as an enemy. I have also let go of this hatred. I will not provoke Lin Fan again in the future. Have you figured it out? Li Keishu looked at Qin Chang Kuang with some surprise. He did not expect Qin Chang Kuang to figure it out so quickly. Yes, I have figured it out. Qin Chang Kuang nodded and said, do what you can do. I'm glad you understand. Li Keishu reached out and patted Qin Chang Kuang on the shoulder again. After Li Keishu packed up his things, the two of them did not stay here any longer and quickly returned to the square. Lin Fan and the others also packed their things and waited in the square. An hour later, Chu Hongsun and Feng Kan came here again. Have you packed your things? Chu Hongsun asked loudly. Yes, everyone answered in unison. Okay, let's start boarding now, Chu Hongsun ordered. Lin Fan, send 2 people over there to come with me. Chu Hongsun said to Lin Fan again. 2 people. Lin Fan looked at Andy at first glance. There was no way. Andy had to be brought along. Then, the next time he looked at someone, he was hesitating about who to look at. Lu Mingying took the initiative to say, Lin Fan, how about I go with you? Murong Zhu, Murong Shan, Li Zihan, and Mu Hongling were all girls. After Lin Fan went to be with Chu Hongsun, he was the only boy left. In order to avoid embarrassment, he felt that it would be more appropriate for him to go with Lin Fan. Lu Mingying's request made Lin Fan feel completely appropriate. If he brought a girl, he really didn't know who would be better. In this way, he wouldn't have to offend anyone. Okay, then you and Andy will come with me, Lin Fan nodded. Yes, Lu Mingying responded, and walked to Lin Fan. Get on board, Chu Hongsun waved. Feng Kang asked Li Keishu and Qin Chang Kong to take a helicopter with him. The helicopters dispatched this time were not only full of people, but also 4 helicopters were specially loaded with supplies, that is, food and water. In order to avoid a shortage of food and water, they decided to bring more with them, so that if there was a temporary shortage, they would not have to go far to find them. Let's go, Chu Hongsun shouted when everyone got on the helicopter. The helicopter flew into the air and began to rush towards the African savanna. They also brought enough fuel. If they were not enough in the middle of the journey, they just had to find a place to stop and refill. Sitting in the helicopter, Lu Mingying couldn't help but sigh. He knew that he could get to this point and become one of the 20 reserve candidates. It was all thanks to Lin Fan. If they had not joined up with Lin Fan and the others in Lucheng, it would have been impossible for them to have the strength of a mid-level 4th level evolver in such a short time with just their 3 abilities. Instructor, after arriving at the African savanna, did you stay in a fixed place? Lin Fan glanced down, then retracted his gaze and looked at Chu Hongsun and asked. Yes, we will find a safe place. When you need supplies, come back to us. Chu Hongsun nodded and said, as for your experience, we will not participate in it. Everything depends on you, of course. In a place like the African savanna, we can't guarantee that any place is safe. We can only find a relatively safe place. Once there is danger approaching, we will change the place. Whether you can find us at that time is another matter, so, this is why you should bring food and water in your own backpack. Instead of letting you come to us at any time, we have considered the situation that should be considered, and the rest depends on your own luck. Now it is 100% certain that there must be level 5 animal zombies on the African savanna, and even in those deeper places, there is no rule that there are level 6 animal zombies. Chu Hongsun's words were basically learned from Dong Xianzhuo. Dong Xianzhuo told him that there are level 6 evolvers among humans, so there must be level 6 among animal zombies. Because the number of animals is no less than the number of humans. Chapter 609 Arrival at the Prairie. Level 6 animal zombies. Hearing Chu Hongsun say this, Lu Mingyun couldn't help but twitch his lips. If they encountered such zombies, even if Lin Fan had the strength of an early level 5 evolver and the ability to control objects remotely, they would only be wiped out by the zombies. However, you don't have to worry too much. This level of zombies can't be too many in number. They usually exist in the deepest places. When you train, you won't go to the deepest part of the African savanna. Chu Hongsun saw that Lu Mingyun was a little emotional, thinking that he scared Lu Mingyun, and couldn't help but comfort him. The area of the African savanna is so vast, why do we need to go to the deepest part to train? Lin Fan said with a smile. With his current strength, he didn't want to experience how strong the level 6 zombies are. Unless, when he grows to the level 6 evolver, it will be about the same. Yes, as long as you don't go to the deepest part, even if you train in the central area, you will not encounter level 6 zombies, Chu Hongsun said. While Chu Hongsun was chatting with Lin Fan and Lu Mingyun, Murinzu and others were also chatting in another helicopter. Especially Murin Shan, who is a real chatterbox. When she was around, she would basically not stop talking unless she was doing something else or resting. Since the distance to the African savanna was not close, along the way, everyone either chatted to kill time or slept to kill time. There were also stops to rest and refuel the helicopter. It took about a day, and the helicopter finally arrived above the edge of the African savanna. The African savanna is below. Chu Hongsun looked down. Lin Fan and Lu Mingyun naturally paid attention to the bottom. Even at this position, they could clearly see that there were many animal zombies running on the African savanna. It seems that this place is really suitable for us to train, Lin Fan said with a smile. Chu Hongsun admired Lin Fan's somewhat happy tone very much. He believed that only Lin Fan's spirit of not fearing difficulties could go further on the road of evolution. Let's all take a look and see where is suitable for us to land, Chu Hongsun said. We have to find a relatively safe place to land. Yes, the helicopter pilot nodded immediately. This time, Big Bear and Little Rabbit did not come with them, because Chu Hongsun asked Big Bear and Little Rabbit to arrange some daily work for the students who stayed in the base so that the students could get familiar with it first. The helicopter circled in the air for about 20 minutes. Lin Fan glanced and said, Instructor Chu, do you think that hill over there is suitable? The hill that Lin Fan mentioned is not only suitable for helicopter landing, but the key is that there are few zombies near the hill. Even if the landing of the plane is very noisy, it will not attract too many animal zombies. The most important thing is that he also saw several caves on the hill. When they go to train, Chu Hongsun, Feng Kang and others will continue to stay here, so those caves are very suitable for Chu Hongsun, Feng Kang and others to stay temporarily. Hearing what Lin Fan said, Chu Hongsun immediately looked in the direction of Lin Fan's finger. After taking a look at the hill, he nodded without hesitation and said, Yes, that hill is very suitable. Let's land on that hill, okay, the driver responded, without any hesitation, and controlled the helicopter to fly towards the hill. The helicopters behind closely followed the helicopter Chu Hongsun was riding. Soon, all the helicopters landed from mid-air and landed steadily on the hill. Roar! 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 The animal zombies near the hill heard the sound of the helicopter landing and immediately surrounded them. Get rid of them, Chu Hongsun said. With everyone's help, these animal zombies that rushed over were quickly solved. It feels like the Lion King here. Murin Sham stood on the hill and looked out, and her mind couldn't help but think of an animated film called The Lion King that she had watched before. It does feel like that, Lin Fan smiled and nodded. Chu Hongsun and Feng Kang came in front of Lin Fan and the others. Feng Kang glanced at Chu Hongsun and motioned for Chu Hongsun to speak. Chu Hongsun stepped forward, swept his eyes over the crowd, and said loudly, This is the place where you will practice this time. You will spend the next 3 months on this grassland. You all have food and water in your backpacks. It may be enough for you to eat, or it may not be enough for you to eat. We will camp on this hill for the time being, but we cannot guarantee that it is safe here. When you have no food and water, you can come back to this place to have a look. If we are still here at that time, you can go out to continue your practice after replenishing supplies. If we are not here at that time, but have moved to another place, we will try our best to leave marks for you, and you can just follow the marks to find us. In short, if you can't find us, you have to think of other ways. After all, these things cannot be guaranteed 100%. Yes, everyone answered in unison. Chu Hongxun raised his voice and said, there is one more thing you all need to remember. There are level 6 animal zombies in the African savanna. What? Level 6 animal zombies? If we encounter them, won't we be dead? This is too strong. Now we may not even survive if we encounter level 5 animal zombies. I didn't expect this place to be so dangerous. Everyone discussed with shock on their faces. Chu Hongxun was not surprised at their reaction. After their discussion gradually died down, he said, although there are level 6 animal zombies, zombies of your level only exist in the depths of the savannah. As long as you don't go to the depths of the savannah, you will never encounter them, so you don't have to worry too much. It turns out that they only exist in the depths of the savannah. The rest of the people were relieved. With their strength, how could they have the opportunity to go to the depths of the savannah? Isn't that obviously seeking death? Okay, everyone, there are less than 3 months left before the global talent competition. I hope you can improve your strength smoothly during this time and become one of the 5 candidates. Now, start your training. Whether we are still on this hill or not, you must return to this hill on time and wait. We will definitely appear here in the last 3 days, and the leader will come here in person. Have you remembered everything? Chu Hongxun raised his voice. Remembered, everyone answered again. Chapter 610 Fen Kang's Curiosity. Okay, now that you've remembered, let's go and start your training. Chu Hongxun waved his hand and said nothing more. Because everything that should be said has been said, and the rest depends on the student's own luck. Lin Fan looked at Murengzhu, Murengshan, Li Zihan, Mu Hongling, Lu Mingyan and Andy, and said with a smile, let's go. Their team is fixed, and there is no need to accommodate other people to join. After all, only 5 places will be selected to participate in the global talent competition, and too many people joining the team will not be able to take care of them. As Lin Fan's voice fell, Murengzhu and others followed Lin Fan and walked forward. The rest of the students also took action. Let's go in this direction. Li Keishu glanced at Qin Changquang and the others and said. Okay, Qin Changquang and the others naturally had no objection and nodded. Just like the previous training, Li Keishu was their boss. They did whatever Li Keishu said, and they just needed to follow Li Keishu. Soon, all the students left the hill. Chu Hongxun and Fen Kang stood on the hill, watching the students leave. Fen Kang couldn't help but sigh. Old Chu, Brother Dong said that Lin Fan might become a level 6 evolver before the global genius competition. Do you think this is possible? Fen Kang still felt that it was unrealistic to upgrade from a level 5 evolver to a level 6 evolver in 3 months, but Lin Fan was not his student, but Chu Hongxun's student. He wanted to hear Chu Hongxun's opinion on this matter. Chu Hongxun tilted his head to look at Fen Kang, and said with a smile, Old Feng, you care so much about this issue. Do you want Lin Fan to be promoted to level 6 evolver before the global genius competition, or do you not want Lin Fan to be promoted to level 6 evolver before the global genius competition? Old Chu, what are you talking about? Fen Kang glared at Chu Hongxun unhappily and said, Lin Fan is from our country. Of course, I hope that Lin Fan can become a level 6 evolver before the global genius competition. In this way, Lin Fan will definitely be able to show his skills in the global genius competition. At that time, the popularity of our country will be improved again, and maybe it will attract some talents from all over the world to join. Fen Kang was telling the truth. When considering this kind of problem, he was considering it from the perspective of justice. After all, the competition between the 2 camps has ended. Now he and Chu Hongxun are the purest instructors in the training base, and they only hope that every student can make a breakthrough. If Lin Fan can make a breakthrough, it will also be a joyful thing for him. To be honest, I can't make an accurate judgment on this matter, but what is certain is that if Lin Fan's strength can break through to the level of a 6th level evolver, he will definitely win glory for the country in the global genius competition. I also hope that his strength can break through to the level of a 6th level evolver before the global genius competition begins, Chu Hongxun said, and then changed his tone and said, but I still hold hope. Just like when Lin Fan first came to the training base, no one could imagine that he could be promoted to the level of a 5th level evolver in such a short time. That's true. Li Keishu's talent and growth potential are already high enough. And he is only at the late stage of a 4th level evolver. Feng Kang nodded. Has Li Keishu's strength not broken through after receiving the energy crystal reward this time? Chu Hongsun asked. Breakthrough. After absorbing the 10 4th level energy crystals yesterday, his strength broke through to the peak of the 4th level evolver, and then he is also sprinting towards the 5th level evolver level, Feng Kang replied. That's still very good, Chu Hongsun nodded. If there was no Lin Fan, then Li Keishu would be the most dazzling person in this class. Unfortunately, with the addition of Lin Fan, Li Keishu's brilliance is bound to be suppressed. There is also Qin Changkong, whose strength has also broken through to the late stage of the 4th level evolver, and his talent and growth potential are also good, Feng Kang said. Not bad, Chu Hongsun nodded again. In fact, what makes me most satisfied is that when I went to talk to Li Keishu, I thought he would be hostile to Lin Fan or something, but I didn't expect that he completely let it go, shook hands with Lin Fan and made peace, and no longer regarded Lin Fan as an enemy. This mentality really surprised me, Feng Kang pondered. This is the decision that a wise person should make, Chu Hongsun smiled slightly and said, in fact, in Li Keishu's heart, I guess she is already very clear about one issue. What? Feng Kang asked curiously. The problem is that he knows that unless Lin Fan encounters an accident, he will never be able to surpass Lin Fan, Chu Hongsun said with a smile. Since you are destined to not surpass Lin Fan, why do you still regard Lin Fan as an enemy? Isn't that just adding to your own troubles? More friends are always better than more enemies, right? Ha ha ha. Yes, he said that too. He knows very well that Lin Fan's talent and growth potential are better than his, not to mention that Lin Fan also has the ability to control objects remotely. Feng Kang laughed and said, this kid is still very self-aware. After Chu Hongsun and Feng Kang continued to chat about Lin Fan and others for a while, Chu Hongsun said, okay, they are going to gain experience, and we can't be too idle. After arranging what needs to be arranged, the two of us will go out and see if we can encounter a level 5 zombie. Then we can improve our own strength. Otherwise, we will be surpassed by the students one by one, and we won't know where to put our old faces. That makes sense, Feng Kang nodded. As instructors, they should be happy for the students when they were surpassed by the students. However, from their own perspective, it was a bit embarrassing. The area of this African savanna was so vast, and the number of animal zombies was countless. During the process of Lin Fan and others' training and improvement, they could not stay here every day. Naturally, they had to go out to hunt animal zombies to obtain energy crystals. You guys, go and see if there is any problem with the cave over there. If there is no problem, put some of the food and water on the helicopter in the cave. You don't have to move all of it in. In case it is unsafe and dangerous here, we can leave in time so that there is nothing on the helicopter. Chu Hongsun looked at the others and ordered. Yes, the few people responded, and then without delay, they immediately started to act. After checking, they determined that there was no problem with the cave, and began to move according to Chu Hongsun's instructions. Chapter 611 Mountaineering Observation. Lin Fan and his companions walked on the prairie, and could hear the roars of zombies coming from all around at any time. Of course, the zombies here are all animal zombies, and the probability of human zombies appearing here can be said to be very small. Unless there happen to be humans who set foot in this area and turned into zombies before the doomsday, otherwise, they would basically not be encountered. Brother Lin Fan, which direction should we go now? Murin Shan looked ahead with her beautiful eyes, and then looked at Lin Fan and asked. Lin Fan smiled slightly, looked at Andy, and said, it's better to leave this kind of question to Andy to judge. Oh, I forgot that Andy has a unique advantage in this regard, Murin Shan chuckled. Now everyone's eyes are focused on Andy. Andy is indeed better at sensing zombies than them. What's more, this is the African savanna, with countless animal zombies, and Andy's sense of terror is more direct. After understanding the conversation between Lin Fan and Murin Shan, Andy immediately began to sniff with his nose. After about 5 seconds, he looked towards the left front. Left front, Lin Fan asked. Andy nodded his dog head. Okay, let's go to the left front and take a look, Lin Fan said with a smile. After making this decision, they did not waste any more time. Under Andy's leadership, they quickly rushed towards the left front. Roar! Roar! In the left front area, there were many animal zombies gathered together. These animal zombies belonged to almost the same group. This group was called Antelope. Antelope Zombie Group. After Lin Fan and others came over, they recognized the other party's species with a glance. Andy, you are really good at sensing. You are a shepherd dog, and you sense the existence of antelopes in an instant, Murin Shan said with a smile. Everyone smiled slightly. Indeed, Andy was a German shepherd dog. Although he was not as talented as a border collie in herding sheep, he did have herding genes after all. At this time, Lin Fan used the ring to read the data of these antelope zombie groups. There were almost tens of thousands of antelope zombies in front of him. Lin Fan couldn't determine it at a glance, so he could only make a rough judgment. There are about 5 level 4 antelope zombies here. Lin Fan's eyes focused and said, we are here to train this time, so we don't need level 3 energy crystals. We only need to collect level 4 energy crystals and level 5 energy crystals. There are too many animal zombies on the African savanna, and the number of level 3 zombies must be sufficient. If they still need to collect level 3 energy crystals, it is estimated that their backpacks will be filled with level 3 energy crystals very soon. Therefore, Lin Fan felt that there was no need to collect level 3 energy crystals at all, and only level 4 energy crystals and level 5 energy crystals were needed. Anyway, this group of people are all level 4 and level 5 evolvers. Except for him, other people need level 4 energy crystals to improve their strength. Energy crystals below level 4 have no effect. After the training, they will face the global genius competition again. At that time, there is not much meaning in using level 3 energy crystals. Brother Lin Fan, there are no level 5 antelope zombies here, right? Murin Shan asked. No, Lin Fan shook his head and said, we are still on the outskirts of the African savanna. I think it is difficult to encounter level 5 zombies. It is already very good to encounter 5 level 4 zombies in such a group of zombies. This is all thanks to Andy. What Lin Fan said is also true. The location they are in is indeed on the outskirts of the African savanna. Level 5 zombies are difficult to appear. If Andy hadn't sensed it, they might not have encountered 5 level 4 zombies in a group of zombies. It is true that the number of zombies on the African savanna is extremely large, but the key is that most of them are still like humans, ordinary zombies or level 1 zombies. It's just that relatively speaking, with a huge base number here, the number of evolved zombies will be a little more than other places, but it is impossible to have level 4 and level 5 zombies everywhere. If that were the case, Lin Fan and others would not dare to train here. Brother Lin Fan, if there are no level 5 zombies, then you don't have to take action, Murin Shan said after hearing Lin Fan's answer. No, I still have to take action, Lin Fan replied. Ah. Why? Murin Shan asked curiously. Murin Zhu, Li Zihan, Mu Hongling, and Lu Mingyan also looked at Lin Fan curiously. They were also very curious about the answer to this question. Because, before, when they encountered zombies that they could deal with, Lin Fan did not take action, leaving the opportunity for them to deal with. Although the number of the antelope zombies in front of them is relatively large, with their current strength, they can completely deal with it. In this case, Lin Fan also has to take action to participate, which makes them curious. Lin Fan glanced at them and said slowly, there are less than 3 months left before the global genius competition. In these 3 months, we should improve our strength as quickly as possible. If I can help to deal with these antelope zombies, we can quickly find the next wave of targets after the deal is done, so we won't waste too much time here. I see. After hearing what Lin Fan said, Murin Zhu and the others understood. Although they could deal with this group of antelope zombies, if Lin Fan joined them, the speed of solving the problem would undoubtedly be faster. By saving time here, they would have more time to go to other places to look for evolved zombies to hunt and obtain energy crystals. Okay, Lin Fan, shall we start now? Murin Shan asked again. Yes, start now, Lin Fan nodded. As Lin Fan's voice fell, he stretched out his hand and waved, and rushed out towards the group of antelope zombies first. Seeing this, Murin Zhu, Murin Shan, Li Zihan, Mu Hongling, Lu Mingyan and Andy did not hesitate at all, and followed Lin Fan closely and rushed towards the antelope zombies. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Lin Fan rushed into the antelope zombies first. With a thought, 6 hidden weapons flew out, and when they passed through the air, they made a sharp sound of breaking through the air. Among these 6 hidden weapons, 3 were his previous ones, and the other 3 were naturally the daggers that Dong Xianzhou had carefully prepared for him. Hunting these antelope zombies, the 3 hidden weapons before could play a very good role. After all, As the level of his supernatural power increased, the number of hidden weapons he could control also increased. Before there was a better hidden weapon to replace, the 3 hidden weapons before could still be used. Bang! 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 6 hidden weapons flew out and immediately stabbed at the heads of the 6 antelopes, piercing their heads accurately, causing their heads to burst open, making a sound of head explosions. Roar! 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 At this time, the rest of the antelope zombies also reacted and began to roar at Lin Fan and the others, then surrounded Lin Fan and the others, as if they wanted to surround and kill Lin Fan and the others. What does chapter 612 mean? The battle between Lin Fan and his group of antelope zombies broke out in an instant. Most of these antelope zombies were ordinary zombies. There were about a few hundred of them at level 1, more than 100 at level 2, dozens of them at level 3, and only 5 at level 4. Therefore, zombies of this level could not cause any harm to Lin Fan and his group. Even if the antelope zombies had an absolute advantage in numbers, they could not have any impact on Lin Fan and his group. For Lin Fan and his group, it was nothing more than spending a little more time hunting. Bang! 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 The heads of the antelope zombies kept exploding, and their bodies kept falling to the ground. They did not say who would specifically deal with the 5 level 4 zombies, but in the process of hunting zombies, whoever was closest would be killed. Because Lin Fan had already sensed that the 5 level 4 zombies were only at the middle level of level 4, and they posed no threat to Murengzhu, Murengshan, Li Zihan, Mu Hongling, Lu Mingyan, and Andy. With the strength of Murengzhu and the other 5 and Andy, they could also handle it. About 2 hours later, Lin Fan had killed tens of thousands of antelope zombies. All the collected level 4 energy crystals were placed with Lin Fan. Brother Lin Fan, you kill zombies too fast. I feel like the combined number of us and Andy hasn't killed as many as you have, Murengshan said helplessly after handing the level 4 energy crystal to Lin Fan. She had just dealt with a level 4 antelope zombie. Although it didn't take up too much of her energy, it still took a lot of time. Moreover, when dealing with the zombies, she paid attention to Lin Fan and found that Lin Fan's speed in killing zombies was terrifying. Hearing Murengshan say this, Murengzhu and the others nodded as a matter of course. The 5 of them plus Andy didn't seem to have killed more zombies than Lin Fan. Lin Fan glanced at them and said with a smile, "It was mainly because I controlled 6 hidden weapons to solve the problem. With my own attack, it was equivalent to 7 people attacking together. The 5 of you plus Andy only made 6, so it was reasonable that I killed more zombies than you. The most important thing is that these zombies are vulnerable to my superpowers. They will die if they are hit. There is no need to waste any time at all." Lin Fan was telling the truth. He was now a level 5 evolver with a higher level of superpowers. When he controlled 6 hidden weapons to attack, the zombies were like tofu in front of the 6 hidden weapons. They could not withstand the attack of the 6 hidden weapons and had no chance to dodge. When Murengzhu and the others attacked the zombies, they could only deal with 1 zombie each time, and they were not faster than Lin Fan. In this comparison, it was natural that Lin Fan killed more zombies than they did. It's a pity that we haven't awakened such a monstrous ability. It would be great if we could awaken such a monstrous ability, Murengshan pouted and said. Haha, if many people can have such a superpower as telekinesis, then it is definitely not a monstrous superpower. It will become an ordinary superpower, and there is nothing to envy, Lu Mingyan said with a smile. Yes, if so many people have it, then the superpower of telekinesis will become worthless, Murengshan nodded. Lin Fan smiled helplessly and said, "We have solved the antelope zombie group here. It happens to be quite quiet here. Let's take a short rest here to recover our physical strength, and then we will continue to hunt zombies." While Lin Fan and others were resting, a group of people in another direction had just finished hunting zombies. Judging from the appearance of this group of people, they were obviously foreigners. "Kane, where are we going next?" A blonde woman came to a sturdy man and asked gently. The man called Kane glanced at the woman and said, "Go find the corpses of African lions." Hearing Kane's answer, the woman's eyes showed a hint of surprise, and she said, "There must be a level 5 among the corpses of African lions. Are you going to attack the level 5 African lions?" "Yes," Kane nodded. "Then has your strength recovered?" the woman asked again. "I have recovered," Kane smiled and said, "If it hasn't recovered, I won't go to find the corpses of African lions. It's good that you have recovered. If your strength has recovered, our team will be more secure on this prairie," the woman said with a smile. That being said, you still have to keep improving your strength. If your strength is not improved fast enough, you won't be able to perform better in the next Global Genius competition. Kane narrowed his eyes and pondered. In the Global Genius competition, I will win a good ranking no matter what. I believe you can do it. The woman's tone was full of confidence. Yet, Kane glanced at the woman, then looked at the other people in the team and said, go tell them to rest for a while. When they recover, we will go directly to the place where the African lion corpses are. Okay, I'll go right away, the woman responded, and without wasting time, she walked towards the rest of the team. After the notification, the woman returned to Kane's side and looked at Kane with an almost worshipful look. Kane understood the woman's thoughts, but he would not break the window paper. He just chatted with the woman normally. Soon, they rested well. Kane stood up, looked at everyone, and said loudly, let's go. As Kane's voice fell, everyone did not delay, followed Kane behind, and rushed towards their destination this time. In their team, Kane is the absolute leader, and they will unconditionally support and obey the decisions made by Kane. At the same time, Lin Fan and others, after resting for half an hour, they also stopped resting. Andy, sense it again, let's continue to look for the next group of zombies. Lin Fan looked at Andy and said with a smile. Training in a place like the African savannah, to put it bluntly, is a process of searching for zombies and hunting zombies over and over again. Although constant repetition can make people feel bored, it is a way to improve their strength. As long as they can improve their strength, people will be willing to do even the most foreign things. After hearing Lin Fan's words, Andy did not waste time and began to sense. After a while, Andy determined the direction. However, after determining the direction, Andy raised his claws and gestured to Lin Fan. Andy, what do you mean? Murin Shan asked in confusion when she saw Andy's actions. Murin Zhu, Li Zihan, Mu Hongling, and Lu Mingyan also looked at Andy, and they also did not understand what Andy meant by gesturing with his claws. Chapter 613 Level 5 Zebra Zombie. At this time, Andy squatted on the ground, raised his paw and waved it continuously. This action, in the eyes of others, might seem like Andy was waving his paw to be cute. But Lin Fan knew very well that Andy would not be cute for no reason, not to mention that Andy's personality was not the kind of person who would be cute. He noticed that when Andy waved his paw, he would let his 5 toes open a little. This feeling was like telling a number. Number? After thinking about it in this direction, Lin Fan suddenly reacted. Andy, are you trying to tell us that there might be level 5 zombies in the place we are going to this time? Lin Fan stared at Andy and asked. Woof woof. After Lin Fan said this, Andy immediately put down his paw, barked twice, and kept nodding his head. So this is what Andy meant. Murinzu and the others understood now. It turned out that Andy was trying to tell them that there might be level 5 zombies in the next place. That's even better. Brother Lin Fan's absorption of level 4 energy crystals has no effect now. Only by absorbing level 5 energy crystals can we improve our strength faster, Murin Shan said happily. However, we have to see the strength of the other party. If they are very strong or there are many of them, we can't do it, Lin Fan pondered and said. Andy said that, probably because he is not sure about the number and strength of the level 5 zombies over there. Let's go and see quietly. If we can deal with them, then deal with them. If we can't deal with them, then change a group, Murin Shan said. It can only be done this way, Lin Fan nodded. Let's go. Lin Fan waved his hand, no longer hesitated, and took Murinzu and others and Andy to set off. About half an hour later, they came to the zebra zombie group. So many. Seeing the densely packed group of zebra zombies in front of them, Murinzu and others were a little surprised. They didn't expect there would be so many. At least, compared with the antelope zombie group they encountered before, there are a lot more. There must be at least 50,000 zombies here, Murin Shan blinked and asked curiously. Almost, there are, or even more, Lin Fan nodded. What about the level 5 zombies? Murin Shan asked again. Lin Fan used the ring to take a rough look. Because there were too many zebra zombies, it was even more difficult to determine accurately. But what he could be sure of was that he had already sensed the breath of level 5 zombies. In other words, there must be level 5 zombies in the group of zebra zombies in front of him. It's not clear how many level 5 zombies there are now, and we can't see them all at a glance, but there must be level 5 zombies here. When dealing with them, we have to be careful, Lin Fan pondered. At present, Murengzu and others are definitely not strong enough to deal with level 5 zombies. If they encounter level 5 zombies, they will be in danger. Soon, Lin Fan thought of another problem and added, "Forget it, I'd better break in first to understand the specific situation." "It won't be too late for you to take action after I understand it clearly. You break in alone?" Murengzu asked. "Yes, I have the ability to control hidden weapons to deal with zombies. They can't hurt me." Lin Fan's eyes condensed, and he said, "At least we have to go in and find out how many level 5 zombies there are. If there are too many, then you can't take action. Let me deal with the level 5 zombies first before taking action. This is the safest and most reliable way. Only in this way can you be safer, without ensuring safety." Lin Fan didn't want Murengzu and others to take risks. If they really encountered any danger and he didn't have time to help, it might cause unbearable consequences. And with his strength, he could deal with animal zombies in the late stage of level 5, even if he encountered hidden weapons. In the group of zebra zombies in front of him, he wouldn't be so unlucky to encounter a zombie at the peak of level 5, right? As long as he didn't encounter a zombie at the peak of level 5, he could get out of it safely. After all, it would be much more convenient to act alone. Murengzu and others couldn't find any place to refute Lin Fan's words, because what Lin Fan said was indeed the truth. "Then be careful. We'll wait for you here," Murengzu said. "Well, just wait for me here. I'll go in and investigate and come out," Lin Fan said. Although he said he was going in to investigate, if he encountered a level 5 zombie and he could deal with it, he would naturally deal with it before coming out. In this way, Murengzu and others could launch an attack. After the voice fell, Lin Fan did not waste any more time and rushed towards the group of zebra zombies. Brother Lin Fan is so fast. This was when Lin Fan really burst out his speed, and Murengzu couldn't help but sigh. Murengzu and others were also surprised by Lin Fan's speed. They didn't expect Lin Fan's full burst of speed to be so fast. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. When rushing towards the group of zebra zombies, Lin Fan's mind moved, and 6 hidden weapons flew out of his body and surrounded him. He was not going to actively hunt these zombies now, but just to form a protective circle around his body. After all, there were so many zombies here. If he started hunting zombies now, it would take who knows how long. Roar. The zebra zombies noticed Lin Fan's appearance and could not help but let out a deafening roar, and then surrounded Lin Fan. Bang! 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 6 hidden weapons stabbed at the heads of the zebra zombies, piercing their heads and making them explode. Most of these zebra zombies were ordinary zombies. In front of Lin Fan's attack, they had no ability to resist at all, let alone stop Lin Fan's pace. Lin Fan quickly rushed into the zebra zombies. He first roughly sensed the place where the 5th level zombies aura spread, and then approached. Soon, he locked onto a 5th level zebra zombie and read some data with his ring. Species, zebra zombie level 5 speed. 20 strength. 20 reaction. 20 ability, none. The data of the level 5 zebra zombie immediately appeared in Lin Fan's sight. After understanding the information clearly, Lin Fan did not hesitate at all and rushed directly towards the level 5 zebra zombie and fought with the opponent. With Lin Fan's current strength, it is not too difficult to deal with this kind of zombie in the early stage of level 5. Lin Fan used the 3 hidden weapons he had before to deal with the zebra zombies around him, and used the 3 daggers given by Dong Xiansaro to deal with the level 5 zebra zombie. In a few minutes, the level 5 zebra zombie was solved. He then used the dagger to break open the head of the level 5 zebra zombie and took out the level 5 energy crystal inside. Then, he sensed the direction where the momentum of the next level 5 zombie came from and ran towards that direction. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 614-5. What surprised Lin Fan was that he soon encountered another level 5 zebra zombie. Under his powerful attack, he also took down this level 5 parent zombie. In the following time, he encountered 3 level 5 zebra zombies again. Together with the 2 he dealt with before, a total of 5 level 5 zebra zombies died in his hands. It was equivalent to that he got 5 level 5 energy crystals. Although this process took more than an hour, Lin Fan felt that this time was very worthwhile. After all, with these 5 level 5 energy crystals, after he absorbed them, his strength should be able to rise to the level of the middle stage of the level 5 evolver. This is very important and meaningful to him. Because when he has the strength of the middle stage of the level 5 evolver, with his supernatural power, ordinary level 5 peaks can't hurt him. After checking again, Lin Fan said in his heart, it seems that there are no other level 5 zombies. I can go out and let them deal with it together. He had dealt with all the level 5 zombies, which meant that Miranzu and others could come in to deal with the rest of the zombies. With this idea in mind, Lin Fan did not delay any longer and rushed towards the direction where Miranzu and others were. Brother Lin Fan has been in there for such a long time, why hasn't he come out yet? Miran Shan looked at the group of zebra zombies, frowned slightly, and said, is he in trouble? Should we go in and take a look? No. Miranzu shook her head firmly and said, we have to follow Lin Fan's arrangements. He asked us to wait here, so we will wait here. I believe he will be fine. It will take him a long time to search for such a large group of zombies. What's more, when he finds a level 5 zombie, he may take action to deal with it, so as to avoid encountering a level 5 zombie when we go in later. Hearing what Miranzu said, Miran Shan also felt that it made sense and said, that's right. With Brother Lin Fan's personality, he will definitely deal with the level 5 zombies when he encounters them during the search. Well, we just need to wait patiently, Miranzu said. When Miranzu finished saying this, Lu Mingying saw Lin Fan rushing out of the group of zebra zombies, and soon left the group behind. There was no way, mainly because Lin Fan's speed was too fast, especially those ordinary zebra zombies, whose speed could not be compared with Lin Fan. Lin Fan is back, Lu Mingying reminded. Hearing this, Miranzu and others looked over. Look, I told you. Lin Fan will be fine, Miranzu smiled slightly. After a while, Lin Fan returned to them. Brother Lin Fan, why did you take so long in there? Miran Shan asked curiously. I went in to find a level 5 zombie, and when I saw it, I took action to deal with it, Lin Fan replied. My sister was right, Miran Shan said. What did she say? Lin Fan asked. Just now I said that you haven't come out for so long, maybe you are in trouble. I was going to go in to find you, but my sister said that you must have encountered a level 5 zombie in there, and then you took action to deal with a level 5 zombie. I didn't expect it to be true, Miran Shan said with a smile. Haha, yes, when I met it, I solved it, so as not to have to look for it again later. Lin Fan laughed, and then changed the subject and asked, by the way, guess how many level 5 zombies I met in there? 3, Miran Shan guessed. She was thinking that when they encountered a group of 10,000 antelope zombies before, there was not a single level 5 zombie. Although the number of zebra zombies they encountered now is 50,000, it should not be that there is one for every 10,000. No, Lin Fan did not let Miran Shan continue to guess. He stretched out 5 fingers to gesture and said, I met 5 level 5 zombies. 5, this number surprised Miranzu and others. They didn't expect Lin Fan to encounter 5 level 5 zombies at once. Brother Lin Fan, you didn't kill all 5 of them, did you? Miran Shan asked in surprise. Yes, I came out only after I killed all of them, Lin Fan nodded. This is too fast, Miran Shan said in amazement. It only took so long to kill 5 level 5 zombies. This speed is really amazing. Just now I thought you were too slow to come out for so long, but now I think it's really too fast. Just now Miran Shan didn't know that Lin Fan had killed 5 level 5 zombies, so she naturally thought that Lin Fan spent a little more time, but now that she knew, she thought it would be normal for Lin Fan to stay for 2 more hours. After all, those were 5 level 5 zombies. They are all zombies with the strength of the initial stage of level 5. For me, they are not too threatening. What's more, the 5 of them did not gather together, but were all scattered. It is naturally not difficult for me to deal with them, Lin Fan said with a smile. If the 5 level 5 zombies gathered together to fight him, it would naturally be more difficult. Unfortunately, the 5 level 5 zombies were scattered. Then, during this process, I also noticed that there were about 20 to 30 level 4 zombies inside, which is still a very good number. Lin Fan said 20 to 30 was his rough estimate. He did not observe the specific data so clearly. He would know it after dealing with these zombies. Brother Lin Fan, when do we start? Miran Shan asked. Now, Lin Fan pondered and said, there are 100% no level 5 zombies inside. You can all rush in without worrying about encountering level 5 zombies, okay? Murinzu and others all nodded. Let's do it. Lin Fan raised the corner of his mouth, stretched out his hand and waved it down, leading Murinzu and others to rush towards the zebra zombie group again. He was not in a hurry to absorb the 5 level 5 energy crystals now. After dealing with these zebra zombie groups, the level 4 energy crystals they harvested would be enough for them to distribute well. By then, it would not be too late for him to absorb the level 5 energy crystals while Murinzu and others absorbed the level 4 energy crystals. With such a large number of zebra zombies, even if they were strong enough, it would take a long time for them and Andy to deal with it. It took them 2 hours to deal with the previous 10,000 antelope zombies, and it took them almost 10 hours to deal with the 50,000 zebra zombies this time. 10 hours later, the battle was finally over. It can be seen that Murinzu and others were all exhausted. Have you collected all the energy crystals? Lin Fan glanced at Murinzu and others, and then asked. Chapter 615, Finding a Team to Cooperate. We have collected them. Hearing Lin Fan's question, Murinzu and others answered one after another. Okay, since we have collected them, let's go to another place to rest, Lin Fan said. Then, they did not waste any more time here, and ran in another direction. Soon they found a cave. The main reason was that when they fought with the zebra zombies just now, the movement was not small at all, which would attract zombies from other places. If they were still resting in the same place, they would fall into an endless battle. Therefore, Lin Fan felt that they should go to another place. For example, the cave in front of them, from the surrounding environment, gives people a very safe and quiet feeling. The area of the cave is not large, but it is enough to accommodate them and Andy. After entering the cave, Lin Fan and others sat cross-legged on the ground. How many level 4 energy crystals did you collect this time? Lin Fan glanced and asked with a smile. Murinzu and others took out the level 4 energy crystals they collected. Lin Fan counted them and found that there were a total of 25. 25, including the previous 5, that's 30. Lin Fan smiled and said, you 5 and Andy, each of you will get 5. After he finished speaking, Lin Fan did not delay and distributed the level 4 energy crystals to Murinzu and others. After the distribution, he reached into his pocket and took out 5 level 5 energy crystals, saying, I also have 5, just in time for us to absorb them here. Yeah, Murinzu and others naturally had no different opinions and nodded in agreement. Lin Fan took the level 5 energy crystal in his hand and began to absorb it. Murinzu and others also began to absorb the energy crystals. The time it took Lin Fan to absorb a level 5 energy crystal was almost the same as the time it took Murinzu and others to absorb a level 4 energy crystal. At the moment when Lin Fan absorbed 5 level 5 energy crystals, his strength, as expected, was promoted to the level of the middle stage of the level 5 evolver. Although Murinzu and others did not make a breakthrough in their strength, they could also feel that Lin Fan's momentum seemed to have become stronger at that moment, and then was restrained by Lin Fan. Lin Fan, have you made a breakthrough? I seem to feel that your aura has become stronger. Just now, Mu Hongling looked at Lin Fan with her beautiful eyes and asked curiously. After absorbing 5 level 4 energy crystals, plus the energy crystals obtained from the previous competition between the two camps, she is about to make a breakthrough and advance to the peak of the level 4 evolver. Yes, I have made a breakthrough. Now I have the strength of a mid-level level 5 evolver. Lin Fan glanced at Mu Hongling and replied with a smile. Great, the stronger your strength, brother Lin Fan, the richer our harvest will be on this African savanna, Murin Shan said excitedly. It is true. Only when Lin Fan's strength is strong can they run rampant on this African savanna and harvest more energy crystals. Therefore, they are all looking forward to Lin Fan's growing strength. Mu Hongling admires Lin Fan even more. She finds that the gap between her and Lin Fan has widened a little. Rest for a while, and then we will continue to go out and hunt zombies, Lin Fan said with a smile. Half an hour later, they walked out of the cave and headed for the next zombie group. Kane and the others were still traveling through the African savanna. The African lion zombie group they had seen before was not close to their current location. Even if they hurried on, they would still encounter many zombie groups along the way, and they would still have to spend time to deal with them. In the process, they did gain some rewards, but they were all level 4 energy crystals, not level 5 energy crystals. Kane's strength had reached the peak of the early stage of the level 5 evolver, and he was only one step away from the middle stage of the level 5 evolver. He only needed 2 level 5 energy crystals to make a breakthrough. This was why he urgently needed to find a level 5 zombie to hunt. 3 days later, they finally arrived at the place where the African lion group was. Cain, why do I feel that this group of African zombies is much larger? The blonde woman came to Cain and said. Cain stared at the group of African zombies in front of him, then nodded and said, yes, it is indeed larger than before. Can we deal with it with the current strength of our team? The woman frowned and asked. Let me observe it in detail first, Cain replied. Okay, the woman nodded. Cain observed for about 5 minutes, and said with a serious expression, there are at least 5 level 5 zombies in this African zombie group, and their strength is not easy to judge specifically. Cain was very distressed about this. When they saw this African zombie group before, there were only 2 level 5 zombies. He thought that he could deal with it after his strength recovered. Unexpectedly, this time, the African zombie group became larger, and there were even 5 level 5 zombies. He couldn't clearly judge the strength of the other party for the additional 3 level 5 zombies. This was really a tricky problem. Although he wanted to get the energy crystal of the level 5 zombie, the safety issue must also be taken into consideration. He couldn't lose his life for the level 5 zombie. What should we do now? The woman asked with some concern. In their team, apart from Cain, her strength has only been promoted to the level of the initial stage of the 5th level evolutionist, but her strength is not stable. It is enough for her to deal with a 5th level initial stage zombie, and she can't deal with extra 5th level zombies at all. We can't deal with them. Even if we join forces, we can't deal with those 5 5th level zombies. Cain shook his head. Then should we find another team to join forces? The woman suggested. Find another team to join forces? Cain frowned slightly. Yes, there must be more than one team in this African savanna to train and improve here. We can find other teams to join forces to deal with this group of African lion zombies. After dealing with them, we can distribute the harvest according to the normal proportion. The woman pondered and said, this is better than us not being able to deal with it, right? Or when the African zombie group continues to grow, we will be even more unable to deal with it. Hearing the woman's words, Cain thought about it and felt that it made sense. After all, as their strength grows, the African lion group may also continue to grow. In this way, when will they be able to deal with the African lion zombie group? Okay, then let's find other teams to cooperate with and take down this group of African lion zombies together. Cain nodded and completely accepted the woman's opinion. Chapter 616, Strength increased again. After absorbing the energy crystals, Lin Fan and the others did not stay in the cave any longer, but came out to continue hunting zombies. The only way they wanted to improve their strength here was to hunt zombies to obtain energy crystals, and then absorb the energy crystals as an improvement. Of course, Lin Fan had one more way than others, which was to use the ring to pick up the attributes carried by the zombies. However, what made him feel a little strange was that in the past few days, they had not encountered zombies with attributes that could be picked up. Could it be that animal zombies rarely carry attributes? Lin Fan couldn't help but have this thought in his mind. When it comes to human zombies, although the probability of them appearing is relatively small, it seems to be more than that of animal zombies. Brother Lin Fan, there is another group of zebra zombies ahead. Should we deal with them? Murang Shan looked forward with her beautiful eyes and saw a group of zebra zombies in her sight. There were not too many zebra zombies in this group, about 5 or 6,000. However, Lin Fan noticed another problem, that is, there were attributes that could be picked up in this group of zebra zombies. It was a level 4 zebra zombie, with a bit of power attribute. Deal with it, Lin Fan smiled and nodded, saying, there are level 4 energy crystals to harvest, so let's not waste them. A little bit will make a lot. On the one hand, it was to collect level 4 energy crystals, and on the other hand, it was naturally to pick up attributes. Do it. Lin Fan didn't delay any longer, stretched out his hand and waved, rushing towards the group of zebra zombies first. At the same time, Murangzu and others looked at each other and rushed out closely behind Lin Fan. They were all very fast, and in the blink of an eye they rushed into the group of zebra zombies. Lin Fan's eyes slightly focused, locked on the level 4 zebra zombie that could pick up attributes. Without any hesitation, he approached the other party directly. The ordinary zebra zombies that blocked him were solved by him at an extremely fast speed. In less than a minute, he came in front of the level 4 zebra zombie. Whoosh! With a thought, a dagger flew into the air and stabbed directly at the head of the level 4 zebra zombie. Lin Fan's mind controlled a dagger at a speed that was too fast for this level 4 zebra zombie to handle. Bang! The dagger flew down and successfully pierced into the head of the zebra zombie. With the sound of a headshot, the life of this level 4 zebra zombie was also ended by Lin Fan. Pick it up, Lin Fan said in his heart, and used the ring to pick up the power attribute to himself. Check. Then, he checked his own data again. Species, human level 5 power. 22 speed. 21 reaction. 21 defense. 21 ability, telekinesis, intermediate evolvable. If I can encounter more zombies that can pick up attributes, my strength will definitely be able to rise to the level of a level 6 evolver before the global genius competition begins, Lin Fan thought secretly in his heart. He was already looking forward to the strength of a level 6 evolver. After all, a person as strong as Dong Xianzhuo was still at the level of a level 6 evolver and had not broken through to a level 7 evolver. This means that after becoming a level 6 evolver, one will become one of the top people in this country or even the world, which is equivalent to standing at the pinnacle of strength. As for how many level 6 evolvers there are in the world now, Lin Fan naturally doesn't know. He only knows that he has the ring on him and will become the strongest person in this world sooner or later. At that time, the rules of this world will be made by him. Thinking of this, Lin Fan didn't waste any time. He took out the energy crystal from the head of the level 4 zebra zombie and continued to deal with other zombies. For Lin Fan and others, it was not difficult to deal with a zombie group of 5 or 6,000. It took more than half an hour to deal with it. This time, they only harvested 3 level 4 energy crystals. Okay, let's go to the next place, Lin Fan looked at Murengzu and others and said with a smile. After Andy roughly identified the direction, they did not stop and continue to walk on the land of the African savanna. Of course, the direction they are heading now is towards the inside of the African savanna. Although many zombies can be encountered in the outer areas of the African savanna, these zombies in the outer areas are definitely not as good as those in the inner areas. The evolved zombies will stay in the inner area. They don't want to hunt ordinary zombies, but only want to hunt evolved zombies to obtain energy crystals. Moreover, they have to deal with level 4 and level 5 zombies in a targeted manner, so they have to go to the inner area of the African savanna. As long as they don't go deep and don't consider level 6 zombies, it will be fine. In a blink of an eye, 2 days have passed. In these 2 days, Lin Fan harvested 5 level 5 energy crystals, and Murengzu and others were allocated 6 level 4 energy crystals. After absorbing these 6 level 4 energy crystals, Murengzu, Murengshan, Li Zihan and Lu Mingguan's strengths have been successfully upgraded to the late stage of level 4 evolvers. As for Mu Hongling and Andy's strengths, they have been upgraded to the peak stage of level 4 evolvers. In this way, Mu Hongling and Andy can also sprint towards level 5 evolvers with peace of mind. Once Mu Hongling and Andy become level 5 evolvers, the strength of their team will increase dramatically, and the harvest on this African savanna will be more abundant. Buffalo zombies, Lin Fan and others were very happy to notice the buffalo zombies not far away. During the time we were here, we really saw a lot of animals, Murengshan said with a smile. There's nothing much here, but there are the most animals, Lin Fan smiled. No one knows how many species and numbers of animals gather on the African savanna, but it is certain that the species and number are astonishingly large. There are about 30,000, and there are 2 level 5 buffalo zombies. They just happen to get along with each other. I will go over to deal with the 2 level 5 buffalo zombies later, and the rest will be left to you, Lin Fan said quickly after watching for a while. The position they are standing at now is much higher than the position where the buffalo zombies stay, and they can see the situation of the buffalo zombies at a glance. Therefore, he quickly read the data of this group of buffalo zombies through the ring and knew that there were only 2 level 5 buffalo zombies among them. The most important thing was that the 2 level 5 buffalo zombies were still in the same place, very close to each other. This meant that if he went to deal with the 2 level 5 buffalo zombies, Murengzu and others would not encounter any other dangers. Chapter 617. Did you pay attention? Because, with the strength of Murengzu and others, there is no problem at all to deal with the remaining buffalo zombies. In any case, Mu Hongling and Andy have the strength of the peak of the 4th level evolvers. With the 2 of them, even if there are buffalo zombies at the peak of the 4th level in the buffalo zombie group, they will not pose any threat. Okay, Murengzu and others still have no objection to Lin Fan's arrangement. Let's do it, A hint of murderous intent flashed across Lin Fan's eyes. He stretched out his hand and rushed forward with the Murinzu and others. Roar! 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 The buffalo zombie group found that Lin Fan and others were attacking, and they couldn't help but let out a harsh roar. Whoosh! 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 Lin Fan's mind moved, and 6 hidden weapons flew out from his body, and began to attack the surrounding buffalo zombies. Under the attack of the 6 hidden weapons, the buffalo zombies had no power to resist at all, and their heads were broken in the blink of an eye. Lin Fan moved very quickly, and it didn't take long for him to arrive in front of the 2 level 5 buffalo zombies. Roar! Roar! The 2 level 5 buffalo zombies roared, and their attention was focused on Lin Fan. Then, without wasting any time, they rushed towards Lin Fan together, attacking him from the left and right. Facing the attack of the 2 level 5 buffalo zombies, Lin Fan's eyes condensed slightly, and he controlled 3 hidden weapons to deal with the surrounding buffalo zombies, and controlled 3 daggers to deal with the 2 level 5 buffalo zombies. A fierce battle immediately began. While Lin Fan was fighting the 2 level 5 buffalo zombies, Murinzu and others were also fighting fiercely with other buffalo zombies. Just as Lin Fan thought, he had no problem dealing with the 2 level 5 buffalo zombies, and Murinzu and others had no problem dealing with the other buffalo zombies, and there would be no risks. Since the 2 level 5 buffalo zombies were only at the initial level 5, Lin Fan didn't spend too much time to get rid of them. After getting the energy crystal from the head of the level 5 buffalo zombie, Lin Fan began to deal with the rest of the buffalo zombies with Murinzu and others. While they were dealing with the buffalo zombies, a group of people were running in another direction. This group of people was Kane and others. Kane, do we want to take a break? The blonde woman came to Kane and asked. Kane was about to nod, but the next moment, he heard the sound of fighting coming from a certain direction. There's a fight over there, let's go and take a look, Kane frowned and said. He was the strongest person in the team and the one with the best sensitivity, so he naturally sensed the sound of fighting over there at the first time. After hearing the sound of fighting, they didn't delay at all, and under Kane's leadership, they quickly rushed to the direction where the fighting sound came from. Not long after, they came to the source. Looking over, they saw a group of people fighting with the buffalo zombies. Are they Chinese? Kane glanced at the group of people, and after noticing their appearance, he couldn't help but frown. China is also participating in the global talent competition. I guess these people are here to train in the African savannah, the blonde woman said. It should be. Kane nodded, then looked at the buffalo zombies on the ground and said. The fact that they can kill so many buffalo zombies shows that they are not simple. However, if they want to cooperate with us to deal with the African lion zombies, they must have a level 5 evolver. Without a level 5 evolver, they can't deal with it. Since Lin Fan restrained his aura after dealing with the 2 level 5 buffalo zombies, Kane didn't realize that Lin Fan was a level 5 evolver at this time. And the 2 level 5 buffalo zombies had been wiped out by Lin Fan, so they naturally couldn't know that there was a level 5 among this group of buffalo zombies. Kane, let's wait and see. After they finished fighting, ask them if they have found any other teams with level 5 evolvers. If so, let them take us to find them, the blonde woman said. Not impossible, Kane nodded. They were kind-hearted. At least, they didn't want to kill Lin Fan and the others. Although Kane and the others were in a relatively hidden place, they were already noticed by Lin Fan when they came. However, Lin Fan pretended not to notice them and continued to fight the buffalo zombies normally. Of course, Lin Fan also heard the conversation between Kane and the others. Cooperate to deal with the African Lion Corps group? You must have level 5 evolvers? It seems that there are level 5 African lion zombies in the African Lion Corps group they found, and they are beyond their ability and they can't deal with them, Lin Fan said in his heart. Then, he used the ring to read the data of Kane and the others. To level 5 evolvers in the early stage, the overall strength of this team is not bad. Lin Fan quickly understood the specific strength of Kane and the others. Kane, did you notice? That young man actually used his mind to control those daggers to fight the zombies. The blonde woman's eyes fell on Lin Fan, and suddenly noticed the hidden weapons flying around Lin Fan's body, and hurriedly said to Kane. Kane had just glanced at Lin Fan and others, and did not observe them in detail. When he heard the blonde woman say this, he focused his attention on Lin Fan again. Really? Kane was shocked and said, he definitely controlled it with his mind. It should be his superpower. This superpower is called telekinesis. I didn't expect him to have such an ability. He has been using superpowers to fight zombies now. I can't feel his true strength." The blonde woman shook her head and said. Kane also shook his head and said, "I can't feel it either. It's okay. We'll know after they finish fighting and talk to them," the woman said. "Well, we can have a good talk with them." Kane nodded. He had not thought of killing Lin Fan and the others. He only thought that if Lin Fan and the others were strong enough to become their teammates, they could cooperate well with each other and hunt more evolved zombies on the African savanna. At that time, the speed of improving their strength would also increase. Although all countries were competitors in the global talent competition, Kane's current goal was to make himself stronger, rather than thinking about getting rid of other opponents. After all, getting rid of competitors who were weaker than him was not very meaningful. In the end, he still had to be strong enough. Chapter 618 Can Cooperate. Murengzu and the others didn't know that a group of people had appeared over there and were watching the battle between them and the zombies. They continued to attack the zombies and killed them on the ground. Since they had been fighting for quite a while, when Kane and the others came over, the battle was over in a short time. "Brother Lin Fan, we got 10 level 4 energy crystals this time." Mureng looked around and then looked at Lin Fan and said. "Well, not bad." Lin Fan nodded. "Then should we find a place to rest now?" Mureng asked. After fighting for several hours in a row, they had consumed a lot of energy, so they naturally wanted to rest and recover. "Don't worry, there are people waiting for us over there," Lin Fan said. "Someone is waiting." Lin Fan's words startled Murengzu and the others. They didn't notice the arrival of Kane and the others at all, but from the meaning of this sentence, they could understand that they had been targeted by others. This made them stay absolutely alert in an instant. "Don't be nervous yet. They have been secretly observing us since they came. We don't know what their purpose is." Seeing that Murengzu and the others were on high alert, Lin Fan could not help but comfort them. Just as Lin Fan finished speaking, Kane and the others did not continue to hide in the hidden place, but stepped out. Now, the eyes of Murengzu and the others were all focused on Kane and the others. "Foreigners," Murengzu was stunned. "It's not uncommon to meet foreigners in this place," Lin Fan said with a smile. "Oh, right, I almost forgot that we are abroad now." Mureng's pretty face showed a slight embarrassment. "You should be surprised if you meet someone who is not a foreigner here," Lin Fan smiled. Soon, Kane and the others came to Lin Fan and the others. Kane had learned Chinese, and said in Chinese, "You are Chinese, right?" "Yes," Lin Fan nodded. The other party knew Chinese, so it was quite convenient to communicate. He asked, "What do you want to do with us?" "Yes." Kane kept looking at Lin Fan, and he found that he could not feel whether Lin Fan's true strength was a 4th level evolver or a 5th level evolver. "Why not tell me about it?" Lin Fan said. "We found a group of African lion zombies somewhere. There are several level 5 zombies among them, and there are many level 4 zombies. We originally wanted to hunt them and obtain energy crystals, but our team's strength is not enough to deal with them, so we want to find another team to cooperate with us." "You are the first team we have encountered now," Kane said bluntly. "A group of African lion zombies." After listening to what Kane said, Lin Fan's eyes condensed slightly. Before the outbreak of the Doomsday, the African lion was definitely one of the overlords on this prairie. After the outbreak of the Doomsday, the group of African lion zombies must not be simple. The team in front of us has 2 level 5 evolvers, but they can't deal with it. That is enough to show that the group of African lion zombies they encountered has at least 3 or more level 5 zombies. The most important thing is that the other party does not have a ring to read the data, and cannot judge the specific strength of the level 5 zombies. So, in this case, it is normal for the other party to find another team to cooperate. "You want to cooperate with us, naturally you also need to see our strength, right?" Lin Fan asked with a smile. "That's right." Kane nodded and said, "If you don't have the strength to deal with level 5 zombies, you can't cooperate with us to deal with the African lion zombie group. This is not a joke. If you can't deal with it, you may lose your life," the blonde woman said. "So now we need to confirm whether there is a level 5 evolver in our team," Lin Fan asked. "Yes," Kane nodded again, "as long as there is a level 5 evolver in your team, our 2 teams can cooperate. At that time, we just need to agree on the proportion of the harvest. I have the strength of a level 5 evolver, we can cooperate," Lin Fan said. He didn't mind cooperating with other teams, as long as there was a harvest. "You?" The blonde woman looked at Lin Fan and said, We saw that you could control weapons with your mind to deal with those zombies before. Is this your ability to control objects remotely? Yes, I have the ability to control objects remotely, Lin Fan nodded. A level 5 evolver again, and you have the ability to control objects remotely. The woman was stunned. Not bad, Lin Fan said modestly. Kane's eyes also showed a hint of surprise, but he soon became confused again. But I don't feel the aura of a level 5 evolver from you, because I restrained it. You try to feel it now. Lin Fan released his aura while speaking. Of course, he did not completely release the aura of a mid-level level 5 evolver, but only released the aura of an early level 5 evolver. Now, Kane and others can naturally feel it clearly. Sure enough, he has the strength of an early level 5 evolver. Kane's eyes showed a bright color, and he said, in this case, we can start cooperation. Kane knew that Lin Fan's ability was not simple. After he finished speaking, he thought of another question. This question is, after they cooperated to deal with the African lion zombie group, when it was time to distribute the benefits, would Lin Fan and others attack them? He has the strength of an early level 5 evolver. With his superpowers, his strength will soar again. However, he is the only level 5 evolver in their team, while we have two, so we don't have to worry too much. If he dares to attack us, they will pay a heavy price. If he doesn't want to lose both sides, he won't make such a stupid decision, Kane thought secretly. In fact, Lin Fan really didn't think of attacking Kane and others. As long as Kane and others don't commit suicide, Lin Fan won't take their lives. Let's find a place to rest first and then set off, Lin Fan said. He didn't consume much energy in dealing with those zombies just now. After all, he used his mind to control the hidden weapons to deal with them, but from Yurenzu and others, it still consumed a lot of physical strength and energy, and they still had to rest. Okay, Kane nodded to show his understanding. After all, the corpses of the zombies in front of them clearly told them that Lin Fan and others did consume energy. Then, they didn't waste time here. After leaving here, they found a safer place to rest. During this process, after Muren Shan recovered, she came to Lin Fan and asked in a low voice, Brother Lin Fan, do we really have to trust them? Will they play any other tricks? Muren Shan remained highly vigilant towards Kane and others, mainly because she didn't believe that foreigners would be so kind as to cooperate with them to deal with level 5 zombies and share the profits. Chapter 619 Not necessarily. Whether you believe it or not is not the point. Hearing Muren Shan's question, Lin Fan shook his head and replied. Well, what is the point? Muren Shan asked with a confused look on his face. The point is that we don't need to be afraid of them at all. Lin Fan smiled and said, with our strength, no matter what tricks they play, we don't have to worry. If they don't play tricks, it's fine. If they play tricks, they will definitely suffer. Don't worry, I am still confident about this. Lin Fan really thought so. Now it is impossible to directly see whether Kane and others have any evil thoughts, but he can be 100% sure that as long as Kane and others want to attack them, Kane and others will pay the price of blood. It is precisely because of this confidence that he agreed to cooperate with Kane and others. If the cooperation between the two sides can be achieved and maintained, then they can also move forward to some positions inside the grassland. In this way, the overall security will be increased, and there will be more evolved zombies to deal with after going deeper. Although it is distributed by two teams, it does not mean that the energy crystals allocated will be reduced, and perhaps more will be allocated. After all, the number of evolved zombies encountered has increased accordingly. Yes. With your current strength, Brother Lin Fan, it is not a problem to deal with the people of the late stage of the 5th level evolvers when you use your superpowers, let alone this group of people. Muren Shan felt as if she had suddenly realized something. She had indeed neglected this point just now. Now that Lin Fan reminded her, she felt that she didn't have to worry about anything at all. Well, don't worry too much, I'll take care of everything, Lin Fan said with a smile. Definitely, Muren Shan nodded obediently. While Lin Fan and Muren Shan were whispering to each other, the blonde and blue-eyed woman also came to Kane on the other side. The woman whispered, Kane, their team only has one early stage of the 5th level evolver, plus the two of us, there are only 3 of us. Can they deal with the African lion zombie group? You can try, Kane pondered. He knew that with his own strength, it would be no problem for one person to deal with 2, and Lin Fan had the superpower of telekinesis, so he thought it would be no problem to deal with 2. As for the blonde and blue-eyed woman, she was at such a strength, so she could naturally deal with 1. In this way, all the level 5 zombies have been distributed by them, so any one of the three of them only needs to deal with the level 5 zombies first, and then they can go to help the other two. Hearing Kane say that they can try, the woman did not say much on this issue, but she frowned quickly and continued, I am still thinking about another thing. What is it? Kane asked. That is, after we deal with the African lion zombie group, do we really have to distribute the benefits to them? A hint of curiosity appeared in the woman's eyes. Although Kane and the woman's conversation was very low, it did not escape Lin Fan's ears. Lin Fan also focused on the question asked by the woman. As long as he heard Kane's answer that he had a different mind, he would take action against Kane and others now, without waiting until later. Because, there is a saying that delay will lead to changes. If the other party has a different mind, there is no need to delay. And the best way is to cut the Gordian knot. Kane looked at the woman, shook his head and said, distribution, it must be distributed. After the first cooperation is reached, it means that we can continue to cooperate in the future. At that time, we can go deep into the prairie to deal with more evolved zombies and obtain more energy crystals. Our goal is to continuously improve our own strength, not to get rid of people from other countries here. If the strength is improved, will you still be afraid of others? Don't you think so? Kane's words, falling into Lin Fan's ears, made Lin Fan feel that he was a person with a long-term vision. After all, if he didn't say that, but wanted to take action after dealing with the African lion zombie group, then he would die here now, and Lin Fan would never give him any chance to live. He said that, at least he can continue to survive. Only by living can we have the opportunity to create all possibilities. Yes, I understand. After hearing Kane's analysis, the blonde woman nodded to show that she understood. She likes Kane, and she will listen to everything Kane says. After resting for a while and recovering, Lin Fan stood up and walked to Kane, saying, we've rested, shall we set off now? Okay, let's go directly to the group of African lion zombies, otherwise their team will continue to grow, which will be more difficult for us. Kane nodded. Then, the two teams walked on the road one after the other, and under the leadership of Kane and others, they quickly rushed to the place where the African lion zombie group was. A day later, they came to the front of the African lion zombie group. Why is the team of this group of zombies growing again? Seeing the group of African lion zombies in front of them, the blonde woman frowned immediately. Because they could clearly judge that the number of African lion zombies had increased a lot, almost doubled. Kane's face also became ugly in an instant. It didn't matter that the number of zombies increased. The key point was that he also found that the number of level 5 zombies had also increased. There were only 5 before, and now there are 10. It was difficult for them to deal with 5 level 5 zombies, not to mention that there are now 10 level 5 zombies. Lin Fan's eyes also fell on the African lion zombie group. In terms of number, there were about 20,000 zombies in total, but the number of evolved zombies was no less. There are 10 level 5 zombies, and there are also zombies with the strength of the middle level 5, Lin Fan said secretly in his heart. As for the number of level 4 zombies, it will not be less than 50, and there are also many level 4 peak zombies. It must be said that the quality of this group of African lion zombies is really high, worthy of being one of the overlords on the prairie. Kane frowned and walked in front of Lin Fan, pondering. Their team has grown again. Before, their number was half of what it is now. The speed of growth is quite fast. Lin Fan nodded. He believed that Kane was not lying, and there was no need to lie on this issue. We can't deal with them again, and we have to find other teams to continue to join the cooperation, Kane said. Not necessarily, Lin Fan shook his head. Not necessarily. Kane looked at Lin Fan with a puzzled look and asked, what does this mean? It means that we don't necessarily need to find other teams to join in cooperation to deal with these African lion zombies. Lin Fan smiled slightly and said confidently, I think we can deal with it anyway. Chapter 620 Agreed to distribution. What did you say? Can we handle it? Kane looked at Lin Fan in surprise, wondering if he had misunderstood Lin Fan's meaning. Yes, we can handle it, Lin Fan nodded. The blonde woman also came over, looked at Lin Fan and said, there are almost 10 level 5 zombies here, and we only have 3 level 5 evolvers in total. How can we handle them? As for the level 4 zombies, they have not yet considered whether they can deal with them. They have to consider the level 5 zombies first. Only when they can deal with the level 5 zombies, they need to consider dealing with the level 4 zombies. If they can't even deal with the level 5 zombies, then there is no point in considering dealing with the level 4 zombies. Before I answer your question, I want to ask you two a question first, Lin Fan said. You ask, Kane nodded. Do you think, with your strength, how many early level 5 zombies can you deal with? Lin Fan's eyes fell on Kane first and asked. 2, Kane answered decisively without even thinking. He had a clear understanding of his own strength and knew how much he was capable of. Dealing with 2 level 5 zombies at the same time was his limit. After getting Kane's answer, Lin Fan looked at the blonde woman and asked the same question, how about you? How many level 5 zombies can you deal with? 1, the blonde woman also gave an accurate answer based on her own strength. Then the two of you can deal with 3 level 5 zombies together. Lin Fan smiled slightly and said, in that case, let me deal with the remaining level 5 zombies, how about that? The moment the voice fell, the atmosphere around him was silent. Kane was stunned for a few seconds before reacting. He stared at Lin Fan and asked uncertainly, you mean, we only need to deal with 3 level 5 zombies, and you can deal with the rest of the level 5 zombies? Yes, that's what I mean, Lin Fan nodded. Are you crazy? The blonde woman looked at Lin Fan in astonishment and said, do you know what this means? Of course I know. It means that I may have to deal with 7 level 5 zombies by myself. Lin Fan smiled slightly, and his smile still revealed a strong confidence. He was indeed confident that he could deal with them, because he had just carefully looked at these African lion level 5 zombies, and the strongest one was the middle level 5. With his current ability, there is no problem in dealing with middle level 5 zombies, even if he can deal with multiple of them alone. What's more, he doesn't have to deal with 7 at once. He can still deal with them in batches. Aren't you only at the early stage of the level 5 evolver? Even if you have the ability to control objects remotely, how can you deal with so many level 5 zombies? Kane asked with a frown. The main reason was that he didn't think Lin Fan was joking with them, which meant that Lin Fan should have confidence. In this case, he wanted to see what Lin Fan's confidence was. At least, he had to understand some specific ideas first. This kind of thing is related to the danger of their lives, so it is not a joke. Who said that brother Lin Fan only has the strength of an early stage of a level 5 evolver? Without waiting for Lin Fan to answer, Murin Shan stood up and said. Hearing Murin Shan's words, Kane and the blonde woman were both stunned. Lin Fan smiled faintly and fully released the aura of a mid-level level 5 evolver. After feeling the aura of Lin Fan again, Kane and the blonde woman realized that it was not Lin Fan's full strength just now, and now it is Lin Fan's full strength. Mid-level 5 evolver, Kane murmured, thinking secretly in his heart, with his own strength at the mid-level 5 evolver, plus his ability to control objects remotely, it may not be a big problem to deal with the zombies of the late level 5. No wonder he has the confidence to deal with 7 level 5 zombies alone. Thinking of this, Kane was even more grateful in his heart. Fortunately, he did not have any bad intentions against Lin Fan and others, and did not think of attacking Lin Fan and others. If they have such thoughts and put them into action, they will be the ones who will suffer. After all, they are definitely not qualified in front of Lin Fan's strength. I don't do things that I am not sure of. Since I said so, it is sure. However, we have to deal with the level 5 zombies first. After we deal with them, they can deal with other zombies. Otherwise, they are likely to be in danger. Lin Fan's eyes fell on Kane and said in a deep voice, the level 5 zombies we each deal with are our own harvest. What do you think? It was Kane and others who brought them here to discover this group of zombies. Kane did not have the idea of attacking them. Lin Fan would not do such a thing as crossing the river and destroying the bridge. He would not kill Kane and others for a few level 5 energy crystals. However, the level 5 energy crystals he dealt with by himself and harvested could not be distributed to Kane and others. The best result would be that each of them harvested the energy crystals of the level 5 zombies they dealt with. Hearing this, Kane nodded and said, okay, let's do it. Lin Fan's strength is stronger than theirs, and he was already very grateful that he didn't attack them. How could he expect Lin Fan to allocate more energy crystals to them? This distribution method is also the best, which is equivalent to a serious competition based on their abilities. Whichever side is stronger can gain more, which is very fair. Okay, since you agree to this distribution plan, let's not delay and start to deal with them. Lin Fan nodded. Okay, Kane nodded again. Wait until we get rid of the level 5 zombies before you take action. Lin Fan turned his head and said to Murinzu and others. Kane also reminded his teammates. Before they get rid of the level 5 zombies, It would be very risky for the others to come and take action. There is no need to let the others take such a risk. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Then, Lin Fan and the other two did not waste any more time and rushed towards the group of African lion zombies together. Roar. After the African lion zombies found Lin Fan and his group, they immediately let out a piercing roar and rushed towards them. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Lin Fan's mind moved, and 6 hidden weapons flew out. While dealing with other zombies, he rushed towards the level 5 zombies. Seeing the 6 hidden weapons around Lin Fan's body, Kane couldn't help but sigh again in his heart. Fortunately, they didn't think of robbing Lin Fan and his group of things from the beginning, otherwise their end would be very miserable, and even annihilation is possible. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 621, What a Big Gap. While Lin Fan was manipulating 6 hidden weapons to deal with the zombies, Kane and the blonde woman also took out their weapons to deal with them. They were both very fast. After all, these ordinary zombies or zombies below level 5 could not hinder or affect them at all. Soon, Kane came in front of 2 level 5 early zombies and dealt with them at the same time. The blonde woman locked onto an early level 5 zombie and fought fiercely together. As for the 7 level 5 zombies that Lin Fan had to deal with, they were not together. He could only deal with them while attracting them. The early level 5 zombies were also not a big threat in front of Lin Fan. Lin Fan quickly dealt with one. Seeing that Lin Fan dealt with the early level 5 zombies so quickly, Kane and the blonde woman had a new understanding of Lin Fan in their hearts. The blonde woman was even more scared. Fortunately, Kane did not adopt her advice to deal with Lin Fan and others. If he did, they would probably become cold corpses. There was no way. Lin Fan's strength was too strong. With Lin Fan controlling 6 hidden weapons to attack, they had no chance to escape even if they wanted to. It's really safe to be with brother Lin Fan, Murin Sham couldn't help but say with a smile when she saw Lin Fan's performance. Haha, yes, even a man like me feels very safe, Lu Mingyan said with a smile. Murin Zhu, Li Zihan and Mu Hongling couldn't help but smile. But the 3 of them tacitly agreed with Murin Shan and Lu Mingyan. It was indeed very safe to be with someone like Lin Fan. Not long after, Lin Fan attracted the other 6 level 5 zombies together. He controlled 6 hidden weapons at the same time to deal with the 6 level 5 zombies around him. Swish, 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 swish. The 6 hidden weapons kept flying, and each of them attacked a level 5 zombie. Of course, there were 2 zombies in the middle stage of level 5. In addition to controlling the dagger, Lin Fan also took action to deal with the 2 mid-level 5 zombies. In this way, the 2 mid-level 5 zombies could be at a disadvantage under Lin Fan's attack. Otherwise, it would be difficult to make them at a disadvantage with just a dagger. In any case, they all had the strength of mid-level 5. Bang! After the battle lasted for 10 minutes, a zombie of early level 5 had its head broken open by the dagger controlled by Lin Fan. In this way, Lin Fan had an extra dagger to join the attack. Bang! Not long after, another zombie of early level 5 was solved by Lin Fan. Bang! Immediately afterwards, the 3rd zombie of early level 5 also died under Lin Fan's attack. Bang! The 4th zombie of early level 5 fell to the ground. Up to now, there were only 2 zombies of mid-level 5 fighting in front of Lin Fan. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Lin Fan's mind moved, and he used 3 hidden weapons to deal with a level 5 zombie. Swish, swish, swish. Another 3 hidden weapons were used to deal with another level 5 zombie. As for the zombies approaching from the surroundings, he could just deal with them by himself. Under Lin Fan's powerful attack, the 2 level 5 zombies didn't last long before being killed by Lin Fan. At this point, all the 7 level 5 zombies that Lin Fan had dealt with fell to the ground. Lin Fan didn't waste any time and quickly took out the level 5 energy crystal from the head of the level 5 zombie. This guy is so strong. He has already finished dealing with 7 level 5 zombies. But brother Kane and the others haven't finished fighting yet. Yes, he is really strong. There is such a powerful person in China. In this global genius competition, China will definitely be the center of attention. Yes, they have such a genius. It is inevitable that they will be the center of attention in the global genius competition. The most important thing is that this person's ability is too powerful. With such an ability, it is very difficult for others to get close to his body. Yes, I just wanted to say this. He has been controlling the hidden weapons to fly around his body. How can anyone get close to him? The most important thing is that when he controls the hidden weapons, he can also chase and kill those who want to escape. Yes, fortunately we didn't have any conflict with them, otherwise we would be in trouble. After seeing Lin Fan's performance, the people in Kane's team began to discuss fiercely. Of course, their discussion was still relatively quiet, so as not to be heard by Murengzu and others. It was not that they were belittling Kane and the blonde woman's strength, but Kane and the blonde woman's performance was really much worse than Lin Fan's. Lin Fan had already finished dealing with 7 level 5 zombies, but Kane and the blonde woman had not finished dealing with 3 level 5 zombies. Such a big gap was really hard for them to ignore. In the field, Lin Fan looked at Kane and the blonde woman, but he had no intention of going over to help. This was what they had agreed on at the beginning, that each of them would deal with their assigned level 5 zombies, so that they could collect level 5 energy crystals. With Kane and the blonde woman's strength, they didn't have to worry about being killed by 3 level 5 zombies. It would only take some time to deal with the 3 level 5 zombies. However, Murengzu and the others didn't have to wait any longer. Because the 3 level 5 zombies were already entangled with Kane and the blonde woman, and there was no chance for them to deal with Murengzu and the others. You can come over and take action, Lin Fan shouted to Murengzu and the others. Let's go. Murengzu nodded, her eyes swept over Murenshan and Andy, and she led Murenshan and Andy to rush towards the group of African lion zombies. Let's do it too. Kill more level 4 zombies. The people in Kane's team did not delay either. They also saw the situation clearly, and knew that after Lin Fan solved the 7 level 5 zombies, they would no longer face the threat of level 5 zombies. Murengzu and others had taken action. If they did not take action, then by then all the level 4 zombies would be dealt with by Murengzu and others, and they would not gain anything. With the integration of Murengzu and others, the war really began. Lin Fan also began to deal with the other African lion zombies. When he encountered a level 4 African lion zombie, he moved his mind and flew over to kill it. The process of collecting the level 4 energy crystal was very fast. After another 10 minutes, Kane and the blonde woman finally solved the 3 level 5 zombies they were dealing with. After collecting the level 5 energy crystal, Kane and the blonde woman looked at each other and joined the battle against other African lion zombies. Chapter 622, Should we continue to cooperate? The battle with the African lion zombies lasted for several hours before it stopped. All the bodies of the African lion zombies lay on the ground. After dealing with the African lion zombies, Kane walked up to Lin Fan and said, Lin Fan, your strength is really amazing. I admire you so much. I really admire you from the bottom of my heart. Kane was telling the truth. He admired Lin Fan's strength very much. Although Lin Fan's strength was 1 level higher than his, he was sure that even if he had the strength of a mid-level 5th level evolver, he could not deal with 7 5th level zombies alone. Moreover, he dealt with them so quickly. Although Lin Fan's superpowers played a big role in this, superpowers themselves are a manifestation of strength. It cannot be assumed that Lin Fan's own strength is not strong enough just because he has superpowers. Superpowers and strength cannot be separated. If they want to blame, they can only blame them for not awakening superpowers as strong as Lin Fan. Thank you for the compliment, Lin Fan responded with a smile. Kane's character is not bad. He has no special prejudice against foreigners. As long as the other party is sincere in making friends, he is happy to make friends. We all consumed some energy just now. Let's find a place to rest first, Kane asked. That's what I plan to do, Lin Fan nodded. Their consumption is not bad, but the key is that Murengzu and others have consumed a lot of energy. If they don't find a place to rest and recover, it will not be good for the next experience. In a dangerous place like the African savanna, if conditions permit, they should try their best to keep themselves in peak condition at any time. Therefore, after they consume energy, they should find a place to rest and adjust. After reaching an agreement, they did not delay here any longer and quickly changed places. This is a forest. Although there are traces of zombies walking on the ground, it is still safe on the tree for the time being. Let's go to the tree to rest and adjust. Lin Fan took a look at the situation on the tree and said with a smile. Okay, Kane and others had no objection and climbed the tree together. The trees here grow well, and the trunks are very thick. They don't have to worry about the trunks breaking when they stay on them. Lin Fan distributed the collected level 4 energy crystals to Murengzu and others, saying, the harvest just now is not bad. When dealing with the African lion zombies, Lin Fan and others collected 35 level 4 energy crystals, but when dealing with the buffalo zombies before, they also collected some level 4 energy crystals. Adding them together, Murengzu and Andy each received 9. Kane and others' team harvested 25 level 4 energy crystals, which is also a good harvest. Of course, the most important thing is that Kane and the blonde woman both got the level 5 energy crystals they wanted. Although the number they got cannot be compared with Lin Fan, they are already very satisfied. After all, at the beginning, if Kane's strength had not recovered, they would have already dealt with the African lion zombie group. At that time, according to what they said, they would find a team to cooperate with the African lion zombie group, and they would only be allocated 3 level 5 energy crystals. The current result is the same as what they thought at the beginning. They are not dissatisfied. It's nothing more than a little envy of Lin Fan. But they all knew that Lin Fan was able to harvest so many level 5 energy crystals completely because of his strength. When everyone started to absorb energy crystals, Lin Fan did not delay and also absorbed energy crystals. For Lin Fan, absorbing energy crystals and using the ring to pick up attributes are both very important means to improve strength. If there are enough level 5 energy crystals for him to absorb, he can be promoted to level 6 evolver before the global genius competition without using the ring to pick up attributes. Lin Fan absorbed 7 level 5 energy crystals this time. After absorbing them, Kane almost absorbed the 2 level 5 energy crystals. Kane's strength, at this time, successfully promoted to the level of the middle stage of the level 5 evolver. Lin Fan sensed Kane's breakthrough in strength at the first time. He looked at Kane and said with a smile, congratulations, your strength has made a breakthrough. Kane couldn't help but show a touch of surprise in his eyes at Lin Fan's words. He didn't expect that Lin Fan would sense his strength as soon as he broke through. This is enough to show that Lin Fan's sensing ability is very strong, otherwise it would be impossible to sense it in such a short time. However, he quickly put away the surprise in his eyes and responded with a smile, I have been at the bottleneck of the peak of the early stage of level 5. This time, with the help of these 2 level 5 energy crystals, I finally made a breakthrough. Indeed, Kane's strength has been at a bottleneck before, and he only lacks 2 level 5 energy crystals, so his breakthrough this time can be said to be a natural result. Not bad, not bad. Your strength has reached the middle stage of level 5 evolvers, and the overall strength of your team has also increased a lot. Lin Fan first praised him, and then asked, you are also the candidate for the Global Genius competition, right? Yes, Kane nodded and replied. With your strength and speed of improvement, I believe you will achieve good results in the Global Genius competition, Lin Fan said with a smile. You are even more, Kane said sincerely. For everything Lin Fan showed, even though he had only known Lin Fan for a short time, he was convinced. Let's encourage each other, Lin Fan smiled slightly. Lin Fan was still optimistic about talents like Kane. After all, his goal is not domestic, but the whole world. If he could win over talents like Kane, it would be a great thing for him to set his sights on the whole world in the future. Understanding their country through these geniuses and continuing to win over talents from their country is what should be done in the long run. Kane's intentions are not bad. If possible, Lin Fan thinks that he can expand on Kane and try to see if his ideas are correct. What are your plans next? Lin Fan asked calmly. At this time, of course, the purpose cannot be made too obvious, which will also make Kane a little wary. It's still training on this prairie. Not only people from our country and your country have come, but people from many countries should have come to this prairie, Kane said. If you don't mind, our 2 teams can continue to cooperate and explore the places inside the prairie, so that the chances and numbers of encountering evolved zombies will be greater. Lin Fan smiled slightly and said, as for the harvest, it's still the same as before. Whichever side hunts belongs to which side. What do you think? Chapter 623, really amazing. Kane had no objection to the distribution method that Lin Fan mentioned. After all, the strength of Lin Fan and others was stronger than theirs. Including the harvest this time, even if Lin Fan asked them to hand over the harvest, they could only obey, But Lin Fan did not do so, and gave them their harvest. As for the continued cooperation in the future, how much they can harvest depends on their own ability. In this regard, Lin Fan will not squeeze them. Okay, then we will continue to cooperate and hunt the evolved zombies in the deeper part of the prairie. Kane nodded and agreed. This was also his original idea. He also wanted to go to the deeper part of the prairie, where there would be more evolved zombies and the chance of encountering level 5 zombies would be greater. Frank, Lin Fan smiled slightly. It was comfortable to communicate with such people, saving time from going around in circles. Soon, Lin Fan and Kane told everyone the news that the two teams continued to cooperate, and everyone had no different opinions. The two teams did not delay anymore and started to act. The two teams merged together, and their overall strength was not simple at all. There were 3 level 5 evolvers alone, and more than 10 level 4 evolvers. Moreover, Mu Hongling and Andy's strength was about to be promoted to level 5. After Mu Hongling and Andy were promoted to level 5, there would be 5 level 5 evolvers in the two teams, and the overall strength would be greatly improved. At the same time, in the middle of the prairie, a team of nearly 30 people was walking. From their appearance, it was not difficult to see that they were Americans. The leader was a young man about 23 years old. The young man had very developed muscles and was about 1.95 meters tall. Just looking at him gave people a feeling of being tall and strong. The young man was named John, and his strength was extremely strong. He was one of the geniuses of the United States. Although he was only 23 years old, he already had the strength of a late level 5 evolver. With such strength, he became the captain of this team. Captain, we have absorbed the energy crystals just now. Where should we go next? A young man in his 20s walked up to John and asked. John glanced at him and said, of course we should continue to train in the depths of the prairie. There are more evolved zombies there, and we will improve our strength faster. Notify everyone and let them rest for another 5 minutes. We will set off in 5 minutes. Yes, the man nodded and replied. Without wasting time, he immediately notified the others. 5 minutes later, they started to move again. Lin Fan, Kane and others' team were still moving forward. After a month, they came to the middle of the prairie. What impressed them most about this section was that the number of evolved zombies here had indeed increased, especially the number of level 4 and level 5 zombies. This was a very good phenomenon for them. After all, what they needed was to hunt evolved zombies to obtain energy crystals to improve their strength. Lin Fan's strength also increased to the level of the late stage of the 5th level evolver during this period. Mu Hongling and Andy's strength also increased to the level of the early stage of the 5th level evolution. Muring Zhu, Muring Shan, Li Zihan and Lu Mingyun have the strength of the peak of the 4th level evolvers, and are not far from breaking through to become the 5th level evolvers. Kane's team has also improved a lot. Although Kane's strength has not yet reached the late stage of the 5th level evolver, he has reached the peak of the middle stage of the 5th level evolver, and is only one step away from breaking through to the late stage of the 5th level evolver. The blonde woman's strength has been improved to the middle stage of the 5th level evolver. In short, during this period of time, the two teams have gained a lot. Let's take a rest here first, and continue to move forward after adjusting our state. Lin Fan looked ahead and said slowly. Okay, no one had any objection to Lin Fan's arrangement. After a month of getting along, Kane and others also admired Lin Fan more. They found that Lin Fan was not only powerful, but also crushed them in terms of intelligence. There was a time before, if it weren't for Lin Fan, they would have suffered great damage. Everyone sat down to rest. Kane came to Lin Fan and said, we can't stay here for long, right? Lin Fan knew what Kane meant and said, yes, we have to leave after training here for a maximum of 20 days. After all, we have to go back and meet up with our mentor. It took them so long to come here from outside, not because they were slow, but because there were too many zombies on the way. Sometimes they could still avoid the zombies they encountered, but sometimes they had no way to avoid them and had to fight them. It took so much time to come here, and it would take almost the same time to return. After all, there were so many zombies on this African savanna that it was no exaggeration to say that even if they hunted zombies here every day, they didn't know how many days it would take to kill all the zombies on this savanna. Therefore, on the way back, they would still encounter those zombies, and they would still have to waste the time they needed. Well, we are about the same. Our mentor is also waiting for us outside the savanna, Kane nodded and said. Lin Fan smiled slightly. then thought of another question and said, "Do you know which country has the strongest genius? Now in my opinion, you are the strongest genius," Kane said without hesitation. "Haha, thank you for the compliment," Lin Fan laughed and continued, "but you know I'm not asking about me," Kane answered seriously. "Before we came out to train, I heard our leader say that what he knew at present was that the genius in the United States was the strongest." The United States? Lin Fan narrowed his eyes slightly. "Yes, the United States," Kane thought for a while and continued, "according to what our leader said, before we came out to train, the top genius in the United States already had the strength of a late 5th level evolver. In other words, the other party had the strength of a late 5th level evolver more than a month ago." Lin Fan's eyes flickered. "Yes, he reached that level more than a month ago," Kane nodded. "That talent is indeed quite powerful," Lin Fan said with a slightly focused look. "More than a month ago, he had the strength of a late-stage 5th level evolver. Now, more than a month has passed, and he must have grown further, perhaps reaching the peak of a 5th level evolver. From this point of view, his talent and growth potential are indeed very strong, and he is worthy of being the top genius in the United States." Chapter 624, Tricolor Dog Zombie. Kane continued to count. "Anyway, the geniuses in the United States are all very strong, they are really good. They were a strong country before the Doomsday Outbreak, and they are still a strong country after the Doomsday Outbreak," Lin Fan said casually, and he did not say the rest of the words. "However, no matter how strong the other party's talent and growth potential are, they can never compare to him. If he is given some more time, everyone will be left behind by him. Lin Fan, you are also very strong. Now you have the strength of a late-stage 5th level evolver. With your superpowers, you are not necessarily worse than the person in the United States." Kane's eyes fell on Lin Fan and said seriously. He was also telling the truth. With Lin Fan's current strength, it was really hard for him to judge whether Lin Fan was stronger or the person in the United States was stronger. In short, in his heart, he still preferred Lin Fan more. After all, after getting along with Lin Fan for this period of time, he also had a deeper understanding of Lin Fan. He felt that people like Lin Fan were the ones who really wanted to achieve great things. Lin Fan didn't know that Kane had such a high opinion of him. He smiled and said, "We'll know this after we compete with each other. It's almost time to rest now, let's keep going." The roar of the zombies coming from the front was very harsh. From the roar, it can be judged that there are many zombies gathering in front. Even from a certain distance, Lin Fan can feel that there are level 5 zombies in the group of zombies. This is the benefit brought by his continuous improvement in strength, which makes his perception stronger. Under the leadership of Lin Fan and Kane, everyone continued to move forward and soon saw a group of tricolor dog zombies. "There are so many tricolor dog zombies," Muran Shan glanced at the zombies with her beautiful eyes and said with some sighs. "The number is indeed quite large," Lin Fan nodded. "According to a rough estimate, the number of tricolor dog zombies here should be no less than 100,000. There are quite a few level 5 zombies. Let's follow the previous rules. We should deal with the level 5 zombies first, and then we can attack them after we deal with them." Lin Fan's eyes condensed slightly, and he said in a deep voice. "Okay." Kane and the others nodded and returned. What's different from before is that before, only Lin Fan, Kane and the blonde woman were level 5 evolvers, but now Mu Hongling and Andy have also entered the level of level 5 evolvers. So, when they rushed out, there were 5 people and 1 dog. For Andy, running among these 3-color dog zombies was very convenient. He took a fancy to a 3-color dog zombie with the strength of the initial level 5, rushed over like crazy, and fought fiercely with the opponent. After fighting for about 10 minutes, Andy won, successfully cracked the opponent's head, and took out the level 5 energy crystal from it. Because it was not convenient to hold it in his mouth, after getting the level 5 energy crystal, Andy ran towards Lin Fan and handed the level 5 energy crystal to Lin Fan, and then went to look for the next 3-color dog zombie with the strength of the initial level 5. Among the 100,000 tricolor dog zombies, there are 20 level 5 zombies. Of course, this situation is only possible in the middle section of the prairie. If you encounter 100,000 tricolor dog zombies in the outer section of the prairie, then the number of level 5 zombies in the zombie team should be about 10. According to the ratio, there is about 1 level 5 zombie for every 10,000 zombies in the outer section, and about 2 level 5 zombies for every 10,000 zombies in the middle section. This is also the result that Lin Fan and others have deduced based on their experience during this period. Moreover, this ratio is higher the deeper you go into the prairie. But you may encounter level 6 zombies in the deep section, so Lin Fan and others will not go there. The strength of level 6 zombies is extraordinary. Even if all of them are added together, they can't be the opponent of level 6 zombies. If you deal with level 6 zombies now, it's not much different from going to die for no reason. They won't do such a stupid thing. After Lin Fan's strength increased, he was able to deal with the level 5 zombies very quickly. If these level 5 zombies were not scattered and all stood in a row, it would be even easier for him to deal with them. However, even if they were scattered, it would take some time to lock on to the level 5 zombies, but on average, Lin Fan's speed in dealing with the level 5 zombies was still several times faster than Kane and others. After a battle, Lin Fan harvested 12 level 5 energy crystals, while Kane, the blonde woman, Mu Hongling and Andy each harvested 2 level 5 energy crystals. Kane and others could only express their admiration for such a result. There was no other way. Who made them weaker than Lin Fan? If they were weaker than Lin Fan, then it was naturally impossible for them to harvest more than Lin Fan. After seeing that Lin Fan and others had finished dealing with the level 5 zombies, Murengzu and others did not waste time. They looked at each other, rushed out, and began to deal with other tricolor dog zombies. The people in Kane's team did the same, and rushed out behind Murengzu and others. This battle lasted for a long time before it ended. After all, there were 100,000 of them, and they had to hunt for a long time. After the battle, Lin Fan and others found a place to rest and began to absorb the energy crystals they had harvested. Lin Fan harvested 12 level 5 energy crystals, which was a very rich harvest. However, he did not absorb all 12 by himself, but allocated one to Murengzu, Murengshan, Li Zihun and Lu Mingyan respectively. Murengzu, Murengshan, Li Zihun and Lu Mingyan did not have the strength of a level 5 evolver yet. If they absorbed the level 5 energy crystal, it would be of great benefit to the 4 of them. Lin Fan also wanted to raise their strength to the level of a level 5 evolver as soon as possible. Only in this way could they gain more in the next period of time. This made the people in Kane's team envious. However, they could only envy them. After all, they were not members of Lin Fan's team, and Lin Fan could not allocate the level 5 energy crystals to them. After distributing 4 level 5 energy crystals, Lin Fan only had 8 level 5 energy crystals left, which was still 6 more than Kane and the others. After all the energy crystals were absorbed, Lin Fan looked at Murengzu, Murengshan, Li Zihun and Lu Mingyan. He could clearly feel that with the help of the level 5 energy crystals, the momentum of Murengzu, Murengshan, Li Zihun and Lu Mingyan had become stronger. Although they still hadn't broken through to the level of a level 5 evolver, it seemed that the 4 of them were not far from breaking through. This was definitely very good news for this team. After all, once Murengzu and the other 4 broke through, the team would have 4 more level 5 evolvers. Chapter 625. Let's see first. John and his team were very close to Lin Fan and his team at this time, but they were unaware of each other's existence. John led his team to a forest and asked them to rest there. You 4, go and find out the situation nearby and see which direction there are zombies. Just find out. Come back and report to me immediately after finding out. John looked at the 4 members of the team and quickly gave orders. Yes. Upon hearing this, the 4 members nodded without hesitation. After answering, they immediately took action and rushed out in 4 different directions. About an hour later, the 4 members came back here to report what they had found out. 3 of them did not find anything special, but the last one said, Captain, I saw a lot of tricolor dog zombies being hunted in the east of the forest. A lot? John asked expressionlessly. How much is a lot? About 100,000. The man replied 100,000? Hearing this number, John's face changed slightly. Being able to encounter a group of 100,000 zombies in the middle of the prairie and destroy them is enough to show that the opponent's strength is not simple. They have also made a summary during this period of time. It is clear that if they encounter a group of 100,000 zombies here, they can harvest about 20 level 5 energy crystals. This made him a little unhappy. If they came here earlier, they would have dealt with the 100,000 tricolor dog zombies, and the level 5 energy crystals would naturally fall into his hands. But now because they are late, these 100,000 tricolor dog zombies were hunted down and the energy crystals were taken away. Have you been hunting for a long time? John frowned and asked. From the traces, it hasn't been long. The man shook his head. Not long. John's eyes flashed with murderous intent, and he said, since it hasn't been long, it means that the other party should still be around here. At this point, John stood up and said loudly, go immediately. We must find them and make them hand over all the energy crystals they got. John himself is a strong and domineering person. In the more than 1 month of training before, they have encountered several teams, and those teams were robbed clean by them without exception. Those who voluntarily handed over the energy crystals barely got away to survive, and those who did not voluntarily hand over the energy crystals were wiped out by them. Yes, hearing John's words, everyone did not hesitate, and under John's leadership, they began to search. After resting for a while, Lin Fan and others also started to act. They went out to find the next group of zombies, but soon met John and others. The eyes of the two sides stared at each other from a distance. Lin Fan's eyes fell on John and immediately read John's data with a ring. Species, human level 5 strength, 23 speed, 23 reaction, 23 ability, none level 5 evolver peak. Lin Fan's eyes narrowed slightly. He didn't expect John to have the strength of a level 5 evolver peak. However, he should be the kind who has just entered the level 5 evolver peak. John, when Kane saw John and others, his face suddenly changed. Do you know them? Lin Fan asked when he saw Kane's change. I know them. The leader's name is John. He is the second genius among the young generation in the United States. The first genius is the one I mentioned to you before. He is even better than him. Kane nodded and replied. The second genius. Lin Fan narrowed his eyes. The second genius in the United States has not grown to the level of a level 5 evolver peak. The first genius may have begun to impact the initial stage of the 6th level of the evolution. It is even possible that he has already broken through to the initial stage of the 6th level of the evolution. Interesting, Lin Fan said in his heart. He is the kind of person who becomes stronger when facing a strong opponent. Only when there are people stronger than him, he will be more motivated to surpass them. If there are no stronger people than him, he will definitely slack off. Yes, he is the second genius of the United States anyway. Kane frowned and whispered, we may be in trouble now. Why? Lin Fan asked. This John, I heard that he is a ruthless person. If we meet him, he will not let us go easily, Kane said in a serious tone. Although he had not had much contact with John before, he still knew about John's character. He knew that John would definitely not give up after meeting them. In other words, John would definitely cause trouble for them, and would create conflicts even if there were no conflicts. Don't worry, let's wait and see, Lin Fan comforted. He could feel that Kane's emotions fluctuated greatly after seeing the other party. This fluctuation was undoubtedly caused by the other party's strong strength. Kane might be worried that they were not the opponents of John and others, and they would suffer a great loss when a conflict occurred. However, Lin Fan would not worry about this problem. In John's team, besides John's strength of being at the peak of the 5th level, there are 4 other 5th level evolvers. The number of 5th level evolvers is the same as theirs. As for the number of 4th level evolvers, and also has about the same number as their 2 teams combined. So, if we really want to talk about it, the key to the victory or defeat between them lies in John. Although John has the strength of the peak of the 5th level evolver, Lin Fan's strength is not a joke. With the strength of the 5th level evolver in the late stage, and the ability to control objects remotely, Lin Fan does not think that he is not John's opponent. His strength can now be said to be infinitely close to the early stage of the 6th level evolver. It's fine if John and others don't commit suicide. If they want to commit suicide, then Lin Fan can only help them. Hearing Lin Fan say this, Kane was stunned. He could hear a very calm feeling from Lin Fan's tone. Lin Fan is still so calm after knowing that John has the strength of the peak of the 5th level evolver? Is he sure to deal with John? Kane thought secretly in his heart. He definitely couldn't know the answer to this question accurately at this moment. He could only know it after Lin Fan and John fought. When Lin Fan and others looked at John and others also looked at Lin Fan and others. A young man next to John looked at Kane and said, Captain, that person is Kane. I know him. His strength was at the early stage of the 5th level of evolution before, and now it is estimated that he has been promoted to the middle stage of the 5th level of evolution. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone, see you in the next video.